And good morning. I forgot to plug the computer in, so I had to remedy that real quick and figure out a way to get it plugged in here in the studio. Got it done. Normally the battery lasts long enough, but when you don't plug the computer in to have it charge, turns out you have a dead computer when you come in on Monday. All right, independent bookstore day today, not bookseller, but bookstore day today. Going to have Glen from Winston Books, a local bookstore here in town. We're going to be sitting there and chatting. So we'll be doing that. And yeah.
To take your business up a notch or bounce back from these difficult couple of years. Omega Accounting Solutions can help you recover any payroll tax overpayments you made during the pandemic.
Step out of stigma, mental health awareness walk, and resource fair.
All it takes is a quick, easy, free 10-minute ERC consultation to determine if you qualify. Omega is the small business champion with teams dedicated to maximizing tax credits. They know their stuff so well that CPAs and payroll companies even turn to Omega for ERC tax guidance. Call 800-300-9ERC. That's 800-300-9ERC. 1-800-300-9ERC. Or visit OmegaTaxCredits.com.
And good Monday morning. It is Monday, April 29th. It is 14 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:14 a.m. And hey, good morning to you, Colfax. Currently, where you're at right now, looking at 45 degrees right now, looking for a high today of 67 degrees. All right, let's turn it over now, as we do, to the Fox Business Report.
I'm Stuart Bonnie, and this is the Fox
Business Report.
Tesla shares are rallying up more than 9% after reports the company will work with China-based tech company Baidu to provide full self-driving assistance for drivers in China. Domino's Pizza shares are up nearly 1% after dramatically better sales and earnings. Its U.S. sales at existing stores were up more than 5.5%. It was helped by its loyalty program and its relationship with Uber Eats. Alphabet shares are slightly lower this morning after rising to a market value of $2.13
trillion. Let's see if that's saved in my photos here. There we go.
Google has closed with a value over $2 trillion.
Something for the calendar. It's the third annual Step Out of Stigma Mental Health Awareness Walk and Resource Fair. It's going to be on Sunday, May 5th. From May 5th, begins at 2 p.m. It's at Railhead Park here in Auburn.
You can host the best backyard barbecue.
It's going to be a day of interactive games, prizes, music, and more as we stand together against the stigma of mental illness. You can register at beautifulmindswellness.org or call 530.
Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this
when you Angie that.
Catch Sinatra and Friends, Saturdays and Sundays, right here on 104.5 FM and AM 950 KAHI.
What are we going to get for our song here?
Sandy, Dean, Tony Bennett, and more, performing songs from the Great American Songbook. Sinatra and Friends Weekends, brought to you. 104.5 FM and AM 950, and streaming all over the world at KAHI.com.
16 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:16 a.m. Gang, let's talk about something for the calendar here. Something you want to know about. It's the third annual Step Out of Stigma Mental Health Awareness Walk and Resource Fair. That's going to be on Sunday, May the 5th, coming up here pretty soon. It's going to begin at 2 p.m. It's at the Railhead Park here in Auburn at 175 Pacific Avenue. You know where Railhead is, over there on, back over there. I'm trying to think of it's behind the fairgrounds, right near the fairgrounds over there. Anyway, Railhead Park here in Auburn. You can register at beautifulmindswellness.org, beautifulmindswellness.org, or you can call 530-217-3870. It's going to be a day of interactive games, prizes, music, and more as we stand together against the stigma of mental illness. Again, it's the Step Out of Stigma Mental Health Awareness Walk and Resource Fair. It's going to be Sunday, May 5th. This is the third annual, by the way. It's going to be at Railhead Park here in Auburn, 175 Pacific Avenue. You can register at beautifulmindswellness.org or call 530-217-3870. Again, it's going to be a day of interactive games, prizes, music, and more, standing together against the stigma of mental health. Check it out. Again, beautifulmindswellness.org or call 530-217-3870. Back with more right after this.
Here's another KAHI community bulletin. Are you looking for a meaningful way to give back to your community? Child Advocates of Placer County serves the community with court-appointed special advocates, adult-to-youth mentors, and family mentors. These Placer County volunteers are specifically trained to serve at-risk children and parents. CASA and Placer Mentor volunteers help foster youth, at-risk youth, and young adults build resiliency, self-confidence, and self-sufficiency. They help them attain academic achievement and avoid the juvenile justice system, teen pregnancy, and drug and alcohol use. The goal of Child Advocates in Placer County is to see our youth make better life choices, succeed in school, and become happy, stable, and contributing adults. They want parents to reunify with their children and rebuild their families. And they want volunteers to come away with a sense of accomplishment and increased connection to our community and a feeling of joy that comes from giving back in a meaningful way. The results are life-changing.
Ooh, we had some games yesterday. Sports ball.
Go to casaplacer.org and click on volunteer.
18 minutes past the top of the hour. It is 6:18. Coming up in our next segment, sports ball, basketball, baseball, all the things. Oh my, when are the A's playing again? I'll let you know. All that good stuff. Back now to America's First News. See you back here at the bottom of the hour.
Monday morning, America's First News continues on April 29th.
All right. Sports ball. Knicks versus the 76ers. It's the East. It's on the east side of the country. First round, game 4. New York leads series 3-1. Knicks. 97, 76ers, 92. Clippers at the Mavericks. Clippers win that one, 116-111. That's in the west side of the country. First round, game 4, series tied 2-2. Bucks versus the Pacers. Pacers win that one, 126-113. That's on the eastern side of things. That's the first round, game 4. Indiana leads that one, 3-1. And the Timberwolves versus the Suns. Timberwolves win that one, 122-116. In the west round of things, game 4, Minnesota wins that series 4-0. Or wins the series 4-0. All right, that's cool. And then in the major leagues over here, A's versus the Orioles. Maybe I want some Oreos right now. A's versus the Orioles. Oh, man. A's win that one 7-6. When did the A's play again here? Let me get my schedule out here. Oh, Glen Athletics. That was Friday. That's Saturday. That's Sunday. Monday, they're back home playing Pittsburgh. Pre-game, 6 p.m. here in KAHI. First pitch, 6:40. First pitch, 6:40 p.m. this evening. Baseball in the evenings. Fantastic. Thursday off.
Non-NATO donors announced a military aid package worth around $65 million.
Okay. Oh, Dodgers versus Blue Jays. Blue Jays win that one 3-1. Royals versus the Tigers. Tigers on top there for 1. Giants versus the Pirates. Giants win that one 3-2. Angels versus the Twins. Twins win that one 11-5. Phillies versus the Padres. Phillies win that one 8-6. Cubbies versus the Red Sox. Red Sox win that one 5-4. Guardians versus the Braves. All right. I think I've got enough here. I don't need to go local today.
The United Nations Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights condemned reports.
I think we've got enough. Woo! All right.
For women and girls, and a report of a new draft bill that would impose punishment. At a news conference in Geneva, the High Commissioner's spokesperson, Jay Lawrence, condemned the crackdown.
We have received information.
Oh, good Monday morning. Need to wake up. this Monday morning.
Throughout the country against women and girls under the country's strict hijab laws, as well as
Found out the computer. I forgot to plug the computer in, so dead. I had to figure out a way to.
Many between the ages of 15.
Okay, reset. Preset 4 minutes for the next segment. Sports ball, Pacers, all the things. I think I need to rehearse sports ball scores so it makes some sense when I'm talking about them. I just feel like so under the gun when I'm reading sports scores.
Reports indicate
all right.
Hundreds of businesses have been forcibly closed for not enforcing compulsory.
Did you know that on this day, April 29th, 1953, Space Patrol aired the first 3D television episode? Really? What?
This bill must be shelved.
Officially celebrated Jump the World Day, as well as Zipper Day. Oh. That's interesting.
The nation's economy soared sharply last quarter to a 1.6%.
How about fun facts about the history of the zipper?
Consumers kept spending at a solid pace.
Zipper was an invention technically in 1917, but it wasn't until 1923 that the name was first used. An American company called B.F. Goodrich Company used Sundback's design on boots and coined the term zipper. Goodrich came up with the name based on a noise the zipper makes when you use it. Zip! What is the real name of the zipper? A zipper, zip fly, or zip fastener, formerly known as a clasp locker, is commonly used device for binding together two edges of fabric or other flexible material.
We've seen increases, interestingly, among Democrats, Independents, Republicans, and that's been good to see.
Without Gideon Sundback's patents in 1913 and 1917, we would still be buttoning our flies closed. That's true. I don't know what it was with my dad. He always had the button fly. Never, always seemed like such a pain in the rear. Or pain in the crotch.
As long as real consumer spending fueled by the tight job market and rising real wages.
Gideon Sundback, a Swedish engineer, worked in the United States, substituted spring clasps in place of hooks and eyes. His hookless number 2, now considered the first modern zipper, went on sale in 1914. The patent was granted 3 years later. Super interesting. I didn't even think about that.
That helped with the disinflation in the second half of this year. Are they just on a break or are they gone? And obviously, we've argued that they are that they're still there, and that we expect inflation to continue a bumpy path down towards target. When it comes to the housing market, which is where, of course, Fed policy always bites first. I mean, there is a really remarkable kind of a gap between the effective mortgage rate, which is the average of all the outstanding mortgages. It's in the
talking about bookstores today, independent bookstores. Going to rehearse the news. Back after this.
That's the lock-in effect right there. That spread. That's a really important kind of overlooked spread. And so I think Fed policy is very much. Again, I won't talk about the granular policy, but I think it's incorrect to conclude that it isn't having an effect or even much of an effect on the economy.
For instance, making the comments that Bloomberg. The economy's gradual slowdown reflects in part much higher volume in auto loans, credit cards, and many business loans. Though the Fed's policymakers signaled last month that they expect to cut rates 3 times this year, they've lately signaled that they're in no hurry to reduce rates. Still, the International Monetary Fund has projected that the world's largest economy will grow 2.7% for all of 2024, up from 2.5% last year, and more than double the growth the IMF expects this year for Germany, France, Italy, Japan, the UK, and Canada. Here at home, shares closed out a relatively solid week Friday, with the S&P 500 rallying 1% to finish its first winning week in the last 4. The Dow rose 153 and the Nasdaq jumped 2%. 3 women who were diagnosed with HIV after getting vampire facial procedures at an unlicensed New Mexico medical spa, believed to be the first documented cases of people contracting the virus through a cosmetic procedure using needles. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that an investigation into the clinic from 2018 through 2023 showed it apparently reused disposable equipment intended for one-time use. New Mexico's Department of Health started investigating this spa in the summer of 2018 after it was notified a woman in her 40s tested positive for HIV, even though she had no known risk factors. The spa closed in the fall of 2018 after the investigation was launched and its owner was prosecuted for practicing medicine without a license. A report said the investigation shows how important it is to require infection control practices and businesses that offer cosmetic procedures involving needles. Reach out to me anytime across the board on social media at MattRayTalk. More on the way on this Monday morning. You're listening to America's First News.
Breaking news first, America's First News. We'll be right back.
Hotshot Secret. They share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hotshot Secret, powered by science.
We all know Joe Biden isn't getting the job done, and too often is making things worse.
That's conservative business leader Doug Burke, one of America's most successful governors. Raised with small-town values, Burke built $1 billion company, creating thousands of jobs. As governor of North Dakota, Doug Burke cut taxes, balanced the budget, and helped pass term limits.
Where we come from, when something isn't working, you stop and you try something new. That's common sense. Joe Biden has got to go.
As president, Doug Burke will unleash American energy and end Biden's inflation. He'll secure the border to stop the flow of illegal drugs. And Burke will rebuild our military to win the Cold War with China.
Do you believe that the economy, energy, and national security are critical to our nation's future? Remember, that's why I'm running for president.
As an American, I is responsible for the country. It's advertising, not otherwise by any candidate or candidate. www.westamerica.com.
Lisa Wolf here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code radio at checkout. This is a limited time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com.
Okay, here we go. With 3 seconds to spare. And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th. It is 30 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:30 a.m. And good morning to you, Grass Valley. Currently, it is 45 degrees where you're at right now, looking for a high today of 66 degrees. All right, let's get right into the sports ball here. We're going to start in the NBA on the hardwood here. We are in the postseason in the playoffs. Knicks versus the 76ers. Knicks win that one 97-92. That's in the east side of the country. It's the first round, game 4. New York leads that series 3-1. Clippers versus the Mavericks. Clippers win that one 116-111. That is in the west side of the country. This is the first round. It's game 4. Series tied at 2 apiece. Bucks versus the Pacers. Pacers win that one 126-113. Back on the east side of the country, first round. That is game 4. Indiana leads that one, that series 3-1. And Timberwolves versus the Suns. Timberwolves win that one 122-116. That is on the west side of the country, first round. Minnesota wins that series handily 4-0. Heading over to the MLB now. Athletics versus the Orioles. A's win that one 7-6. You can hear the A's again here on KAHI today. Home game. They're starting a homestand here against Pittsburgh. That's going to be at 6:40 p.m. tonight. That is the first pitch. You can hear all the pregame starting here on KAHI at 6 p.m. A's playing Pittsburgh today. Hear the pregame starting at 6 p.m. here on KAHI. First pitch is at 6:40 p.m. tonight. Gang, is there nothing better than just having baseball on the radio in the evenings time? I absolutely love it. Dodgers versus the Blue Jays. Oh, Blue Jays win that one 3-1. Royals versus the Tigers. Tigers on top there 4-1. Where are the Giants? Find the Giants. Adam, where's the Giants? We got to find them. Oh, here they are. Giants versus the Pirates. Giants win that one 3-2. A's versus the Twins, or not A's. Angels versus the Twins. Twins win that one 11-5. D-backs versus the Mariners. Diamondbacks on top 3-2. And Padres versus the Phillies. Phillies win that one 8-6. Back with your KAHI weather right after this.
I'm thrilled to announce I joined the KAHI radio team. Each weekday morning from 9 to noon, I'm live on KAHI.
That went okay. It wasn't terrible.
Diabetes, women's health, children, geriatrics, relationships.
Good thing I practiced it first.
Washington, we even touch on government and policies impacting your health. The Dr. Dahlia Show is also a live call and medical talk show that answers your questions on the air.
All right, Timmy, you're up.
Monday through Friday from 9
Get your weather report ready.
104.5 and AM 950 KAHI, the voice of the foothills.
On the weather forecast, for sunny, dry weather for the next couple of days. Temperatures today with sunshine around 68, 69, and northwest wind about 10 miles per hour.
Okay, here we go.
Tonight, mostly clear, very light winds. It'll be up around 70, a little bit warmer Tuesday.
I think I tweaked my neck yesterday.
Mostly sunny in the low 70s. Low 70s or sunny Thursday, upper 70s Friday, mostly sunny skies. This is meteorologist Tim Rick from FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI.
If I got drunk, if I did coke, I'd be one of the guys. They said method helped me get through my.
Okay, what's coming up next? News, California ag reports. See if I can get the news, if I can spit that out. It's a little bit different when I'm tired. Oh, words start to blur together a little bit. Oh well. Here we go.
Drugfreeworld.org.
33 minutes past the top of the hour. It is 6:33 a.m. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to have your KAHI news. We're going to have your California ag report, all that good stuff now. And also, if it's your birthday today, happy stinking birthday to you. At the top of the hour, I'll tell you who you share some birthdays with. Turns out we got a lot of birthday boys and gals today. So you'll want to stick around to find all that out. Back now to America's First News. I'll see you back here in just a little bit. Love it. When I see that I've got 10 seconds left to talk, and I thought that I was at the end. So, hey, if it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. Actually, I think there's somebody on here whose birthday is tomorrow, but is celebrating today. So, happy early birthday to you tomorrow, and I hope you have a great celebration today. Going to the whatever spa thingamajiggy that you're going to. Enjoy. I won't say what your birthday it is, but middle age, am I right? Okay, continue now to rehearsing the news.
To allow for easier aid access to places in Gaza, particularly up in the north. So he's going to be working on that very, very hard. He'll also be talking to the Israelis about their intentions and their thinking about Rafah military operations and sort of where they are in the planning stages for that.
If they go into Rafah, ceasefire is off. Any prospect of any short-term ending to this war is completely over.
Well, look, I think again we have to have a better understanding from the Israelis about what they want to do. As a matter of fact, we've had several staff talks with them. We intend to do that more. They've assured us that they won't go into Rafah until we've had a chance to really share our perspectives and our concerns with them. So we'll see where that goes. Obviously, George, if we're able to get this hostage deal in place, and we are still working at that, Hamas has not fully rejected it. They are considering this proposal on the table. If we can get that in place, then that gives you 6 weeks of peace. It gives you no fighting for 6 weeks, and that includes no fighting in Rafah. And what we're hoping is that after 6 weeks of a temporary ceasefire, we can maybe get something more enduring in place. We want to see him in the conflict as soon as possible.
The White House said Biden reiterated his clear position as Israel plans to invade Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah, despite global concern for more than 1 million Palestinians sheltering there. The invasion on humanitarian grounds, straining relations between the allies. Meanwhile, a letter written by Biden and 17 other world leaders urged Hamas to release their citizens immediately. In recent days, Hamas has released new videos of 3 hostages, an apparent push for Israel to make concessions. Hannah Seeger, Lisa Keith Seeger, told CBS's Face the Nation that she worries a deal to exchange hostages is not in the political interest of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
I do think a deal can be reached. I mean, we know that. The deal was reached in November. Dozens of women and children were released, including my aunt, Aviva Siegel. So we know that it's possible, and I do think that's really important to remember. The United States played a critical role in November. I think, ultimately this is a negotiation between Hamas and Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel, and one of the things that really worries my family and worries me is that it's arguably not in Prime Minister Netanyahu's political interest to close a deal. And, for us, this is the moment. These videos, as you know, there was a video released a couple of days ago of another American hostage, Hersh Goldberg-Poland. I do think that these two videos are a signal from Hamas that they are ready to make a deal and a reminder that there are American citizens being held, including Keith. I think, there is a lot swirling in the political landscape in Israel, and I'm not here to talk about that, but there have been negotiations going on for months now. We're at 205 days. There have been deals on the table, and they've proven elusive, and I worry that that is because of Prime Minister Netanyahu. So I think that now is the moment. I have faith that we can do a deal now, but I also think that if that isn't possible, then the Biden administration should think about what they can do directly to bring our American citizens home.
On Sunday, World Central Kitchen said it would resume operations in Gaza Monday, ending a 4-week suspension after the Israeli military drones killed 7 of its aid workers. The organization has 276 trucks ready to enter through the Rafah crossing and will also send trucks into Gaza from Jordan, according to a statement. It's also examining if the Ashdown port can be used to offload supplies. New today, U.S. intelligence officials have determined that Russian President Vladimir Putin likely did not order the death of imprisoned opposition leader Alexei Navalny in February. That's according to multiple reports. And while U.S. officials believe Putin was ultimately responsible for the death of Navalny, who endured brutal conditions during his confinement, the intelligence community has found no smoking gun that Putin was aware of the timing of Navalny's death, which came soon after the Russian president's re-election or directly ordered it, according to multiple reports. Turning to sports this morning, Anthony Edwards scored 31 of his 40 points in the second half. Karl Anthony Towns had 28, and the Timberwolves pulled away late to beat the Suns 122-116 Sunday night and sweep the first-round playoff series. It's the first playoff series win for the franchise in 20 years. The 22-year-old threw down a powerful one-handed jam, giving Minnesota a 115-111 lead with 2:14 left to seal the deal.
I told y'all yesterday, or day before yesterday, whatever the last time we played, that I want to kill everything in front of me. So I knew we had a chance to sweep them, and why we want to go back to Minnesota? We know the recipe. They came out and competed. They played hard tonight. It was very tough, but big shout out to my teammates, man. They came out and competed at a high level throughout the whole 48 minutes, and they trusted me at the end, man. So big shout out to those guys.
Edwards making remarks to TNT's inside the NBA. The Wolves finished off the Suns despite Devin Booker's 49 points on 13 of 21 shooting. He also made 20 of 21 free throws. Kevin Durant had 33, but the rest of the team struggled. The Wolves now wait to see if they'll take on the Denver Nuggets or LA Lakers in the second round. The Lakers stayed alive Saturday, winning 119-108, led by 30 points from LeBron James. Nikola Jokic had 33 for the Nuggets. Head coach Michael Malone was not ready to blame the loss on shoes that were somehow not at the arena on time.
If you want to, dig into stuff and say, well, we lost because for some strange reason, all of our players didn't have their shoes when they got here for the normal warm-ups. We had guys out there shooting around with flip-flops. Is that ideal? No. But I'm not an excuse guy, and I'm not going to point to the reason we got our butts kicked in the paint because shoes weren't here. I think that's a reach, personally. Is it ideal? No. And hopefully we can figure out and make sure that never happens again. But that's no excuses, no explanations. We didn't get the job done. And the good thing about this is we have a chance to go home and try to get back to playing our brand of basketball and an opportunity to close it out in front of our fans.
The Nuggets are 33-19 against conference opponents. Denver is 7th in the Western Conference with 33.7 defensive boards per game, led by Jokic, averaging 9.5 of them. Paul George and James Harden each had 33 points while playing key fourth-quarter roles to help LA hold on after blowing a 31-point lead and beat Dallas to even their series at 2-2. The Clippers won again without Kawhi Leonard, who missed the series opener with right knee inflammation before playing the 2 Dallas victories. George is tired of answering questions about next man up.
I don't know how many times we got to say it. Regardless of who's playing, who's not playing, I got to be aggressive. And
we feel good where we're at. With who we have.
Oh, you and James, Kyrie, and Luka scored all the touchdowns tonight. What was it like? You four, just going back and forth, back and forth.
I mean, it's what this is about. Trying to will and put the team on your shoulders and make plays when it matters.
The teams have split a pair on each other's home court in the Western Conference first round meeting between them in the past 5 seasons. Game 5 is Wednesday night in Los Angeles. Jalen Brunson scored a career playoff high 47 points and added 10 assists. And the New York Knicks beat the Philadelphia 76ers 97-92 Sunday to take a 3-1 lead in their first round series. Brunson told ESPN the Knicks out-hustled the Sixers.
We just kept playing and found a way to win. I was really scrappy, but I mean, we just kept staying connected and found a way.
You held Joel without a field goal in that fourth quarter. Hartenstein's in foul trouble. Had no Mitchell Robinson, and you were able to dominate the offensive boards without someone who does that on a regular basis. Just sum up the resiliency and grit of this squad.
Yeah, we stuck together. And, to do that is unheard of. The way he's playing, I love he's playing that. But, like I said before, we stuck together, we come the way, we keep playing.
OG Anunoby added 16 points and 14 boards as the Knicks moved within a victory of getting to the Eastern Conference semifinals for the second straight year. On the ice, Brock Besser had the best playoff game of his career, a perfect time for the Vancouver Canucks. Besser had his first hat trick in the playoff.
Here we go. Let's find an announcement to do, because that's what we're starting off with right now. Also,
reach out to me anytime across the board on social media at
Shingle Springs. Good morning.
America's First News.
America's First News.
We'll be
See,
right
something
back.
costs less, but people are happier with it.
Let's talk about the Auburn Home Show.
That's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MetaShare. $500 per month. And that's huge, but it's
$20 Adam.
Here's the number you need. 855 share 40. That's 855 share 40. 855 share 40.
And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th, and it is 15 minutes to the top of the hour, 6:45 a.m. And good morning to you, Shingle Springs. Currently 47 degrees where you're at right now, looking for a high today of 71 degrees. All right, let's talk about another event for the calendar. Do you have this one on the calendar? Well, if not, you should. It's the Auburn Home Show. It's coming May 17th, 18th, and 19th. That's going to be Friday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's going to be beautiful landscaping, beer and wine garden. There's going to be, gang, the tiny house display. If you haven't seen the tiny house display, you got to check it out. It is so fun to walk through those little houses. There's going to be live demos, crafters corners, live music. It's all happening at the Gold Country Fairgrounds. You can find out more at auburnhomeshows.com. Again, there's going to be hundreds of vendors, tiny house display, local contractors, and live seminars with experts, DIY projects, live demos, home improvement experts, marketplace for local crafts and live music. Maybe I need to ask them about the plumbing because gang, I got some plumbing issues at the house here. Going to be, I think we're gonna have to dig. So maybe find out about that. If you've got some questions, you can find out all about that at the Auburn Home Show, Gold Country Fairgrounds, May 17th through 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's gonna be a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Parking is $8. It's $8 general admission. $4 for seniors. Seniors $3 on Friday, by the way. Kids are free. Military and first responders free all weekend. Again, it is the Auburn Home Show coming here May 17th, 18th, and 19th. Find out more at auburnhomeshows.com. Back with your KAHI News right after this. Okay, now I just got to pick it up. Open it up.
save you money. Visit bge.com/rate. Take a bite out of your electricity bill. Check your rate plan today. This money saving.
And here's your KAHI news for Monday, April 29th. I'm Chris Quant. 2-vehicle head-on crash kills Roseville man and leaves one with major injuries. This is from the Sacramento Bee. A Roseville man died in a head-on collision Thursday in Sutter County, and that left another man with major injuries, authorities said. The California Highway Patrol was alerted at about 3 p.m. to the incident on West Riego Road, east of Pacific Avenue. For unknown reasons, the 24-year-old Roseville man crossed into oncoming westbound lanes and collided into a Chevrolet truck driven by a Sacramento man, said Officer Brian Danielson, a spokesman for the CHP's Yuba Sutter office. The Roseville man died at the scene. The Sutter County Coroner's Office is expected to identify him after the family is notified. The Chevrolet driver, age 55, was taken to a hospital with major injuries while his passenger, a 27-year-old Sacramento man, complained of pain, the CHP said. The collision's cause is under investigation, but drugs and alcohol are not suspected to have played a role in the crash, the CHP said. Parts of Interstate 80 to be closed for nearly 1 week. This is from Fox 40 News. The California Department of Transportation is reminding drivers that various lane closures and delays that will take place along Interstate 80 beginning on Sunday and lasting through Thursday in some parts of Northern California. Caltrans said it performed an extensive field review of the I-80 corridor in 2023 and found, quote, an unprecedented amount of damage, unquote, with some areas exhibiting moderate to high levels of rutting due to chain wear. The agency adds that the upcoming extended lane closures will help minimize the project's duration to repair I-80 while simultaneously speeding up the project's completion and improving its workers' safety. Quote, Caltrans reminds motorists to be work zone alert and slow in construction zones for the safety of travelers and crews performing these improvements, unquote, Caltrans said. Traffic delays and lane closures can be expected in Placer, Nevada, and Sierra counties. Westbound I-80 between Nevada State Line and Floreston, lane closures will be in effect from 9 p.m. on Sunday through noon on Friday. Between Castle Peak and Soda Springs, lane closures will be in effect from 7 p.m. on Monday to noon on Tuesday, and again from 7 p.m. on Tuesday to noon on Wednesday. Between Troy and Cisco Grove, lane closures will be in effect from 7 p.m. on Sunday through 7 p.m. on Friday. Eastbound I-80 between Emigrant Gap and Yuba Pass, lane closures will be in effect from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday and from 7 a.m. to noon on Friday. Between Yuba Pass and Cisco Grove, lane closures will be in effect from 7 a.m. Monday through 7 a.m. on Wednesday and from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. on Wednesday and Thursday. Between Cisco Grove and Troy, lane closures will be in effect from 7 p.m. on Sunday through noon on Friday. And between Kingvale and Soda Springs, lane closures will be in effect from 7 p.m. Sunday through noon on Friday. Back with more news after this.
Even at night and every day they steal from you. Any device with a digital display steals energy. They may only use a little bit, but
Where's the water? It adds up and you pay.
Stop energy theft. Turn off printers and computers when not in use. Use a power strip for charging and turn the strip off when. Stop energy thieves and save. Brought to you by
Pioneer Community Energy.
Every day we talk to businesses about the headaches they face with workers' compensation. The rates keep going up, and those audits are a nightmare. Bill Harris from Homeland Insurance, we tie your payroll and your work comp to mitigate much of the auditing issues and the savings.
El Dorado Transit System expanding Sacramento route, including stop at May Lee State Office Complex. This is from Fox 40 News.
339-77. Because KAHI cares.
Here's another KAHI Community Bulletin Board.
Attention all cat lovers. Are you looking for a way to help cats in need? Look no further. Animal Outreach of the Motherlode is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing El Dorado County services and programs that help eliminate pet overpopulation and reduce the euthanasia of adoptable animals. Animal Outreach serves over 6,000 cats and dogs each year through their low-cost spay, neuter, and vaccine clinic. And they're the only organization in the county to offer free spays and neuters for community cats who are sponsored once per month referral day. In addition, they also manage a feline rescue that allows you to care for and find homes for kids and cats. So, if you're looking for a furry companion, adopt from Animal Outreach. Animal Outreach has continued to thrive for almost 30 years due to the incredible support they receive from our community.
Volunteers, donors, fosters, and
All
members
right.
all serve important roles in their success. If you're interested in getting
Trying to do this so I don't have to re-record the news again. Trying to get the read perfect, but we'll see. 8 minutes to the top of the hour. Continuing now with your KAHI news here on KAHI. El Dorado Transit System expanding Sacramento route, including stop at Lee State Office Complex. This is from Fox 40 News. The El Dorado Transit System recently announced it would add a route to its popular Sacramento commuter service, including a stop at the largest government office project in California's history. Beginning on May 6th, the El Dorado Transit will extend all its routes to include a stop at the new Lee State Office at 651 Bannon Street, near the intersection of Richards Boulevard and North 7th Street. The Lee State Office Complex, a 1.2 million square foot office complex located in Sacramento's River District, opened on Wednesday as a part of the Department of General Services plan to renovate state office buildings in California's capital city. According to its website, the office complex plans to host 7 California agencies. Quote, a total of 5 trips will occur starting on May 6, 2024 in both the morning and in the afternoon, unquote, the El Dorado Transit System said. Transportation Service added a reminder that its Sacramento commuter route begins at the park and ride locations in western El Dorado County and ends in downtown Sacramento. Quote, for state workers who live in the El Dorado, let's try that again. Quote, for state workers who live in El Dorado County, the Sacramento commuter service is an easy, stress-free way to commute to work, unquote, the transit system said. And from the Morning Brew, taking a look at the week ahead, Fed meeting jobs report on tap. It'll be a big week for hot takes on the U.S. economy with the Federal Reserve meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday and the April jobs report released on Friday. Because inflation has been sticking around, the Fed is expected to hold interest rates steady at this meeting and for the foreseeable future, a 180 from what seemed likely at the beginning of the year. On the jobs front, economists are projecting another strong month for employment growth. And Donald Trump will be campaigning in Michigan and Washington on Wednesday, a day off from his ongoing hush money trial in Manhattan. Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholders meeting, aka Woodstock for Capitalists, will take place in Omaha on Saturday. Expect tributes to Warren Buffett's longtime business partner, Charlie Munger, who died last year at 99. And from the Morning Brew, here's what else is brewing. As Israeli officials believe the International Criminal Court is preparing arrest warrants for senior Israeli government officials and Hamas leaders related to the war, the New York Times reported. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, a potential Trump running mate, drew outcry after a report revealed that she describes killing her 14-month-old dog in her upcoming memoir. Noem defended her action, saying, quote, tough decisions like this happen all the time on a farm, unquote. And Paramount Global could fire CEO Bob Bakish as soon as this morning, per CNBC. And a record 775,000 football fans attended the NFL draft in Detroit from Thursday through Sunday, according to Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And finally, also from the Morning Brew, today's word of the day is ostentatious, meaning attracting or seeking to attract attention, admiration, or envy, often by gaudiness or obviousness. And that is your KAHI news for this Monday, April 29th. On now to the California Ag Report. Cannot use that. Gonna have to record that one again. That was awful. Not at all what I wanted to do. Oh well.
The Southeastern Legal Foundation and the Mountain States Legal Foundation have now filed a preliminary injunction regarding disaster payments. Specifically, they're asking federal courts to stop the Biden administration.
And dad jokes too. Thank you. This is fantastic.
And unlawfully funneling
checking the text line here. Why are independent bookstores so important to our community? Sets the stage for the interview. Yeah, that's good. What unique experience does your bookstore offer that big? Oh, yeah, that's good. Focus on personal tech. Yeah, that's good. Beyond selling books, what kind of community events or programs does your store host? Okay. Independent Bookstore Day is a national celebration. How's your store participating this year? That's good. For someone who might be hesitant about buying used books, what are some of the hidden gems they might find in your store? Oh, that's a good one. There's a certain charm to reading a used book. What are some of the interesting stories you've heard about Interesting stories you've heard about inscriptions or marginalia you've come across? Marginalia? Okay. How can someone who might be on a budget still enjoy the experience of browsing and buying books at your store? What are some tips for finding that perfect used book, whether it's a specific title or delight? Oh, that's good.
Ask your retailer or
That's good. What kind of wave hits a bookstore? A tidal wave.
You know a veteran in need? Nation's Finest, through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, helps veterans and their families struggling
That's good.
with rent.
I saw a book at a bookstore called How to Solve 50% of Your Problems. So I bought two. What do you call a bookstore that's a bar? Tequila Mockingbird.
Visit Nation's Finest.
That's also a bar. Tequila Mockingbird. Went to my local bookstore today and took a look at the classic section. It was lit.
With California Ag Today on the Ag
I don't get that
Information
either.
Network, I am Haley Ship.
Hi, this is Mike Nichols. What do you
Now you have time to record. Now you have more time to record the news. Thanks, babe. Oh no, don't I? He hates events. Okay, got it. I wondered about that. Notes written in the margin. That's what I thought. Marginalia. To Kill a Mockingbird. Lit. Oh, literature. Yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird. I got that, but literature. Okay. Got it. Not functioning on all cylinders today. Thank you. A girl came into my bookstore and asked, "What are the chances you have a book on curing eating disorders with religion?" Slim to none. There was a fourth one there, but it didn't. Was there supposed to be a number 4, or was it just 3?
This is Jen from Janet Johnston Photography. I advertise on KAHI Radio because it helps me reach people throughout the foothills who are looking for the best pictures to capture their memories that will last a lifetime. Whether it's a engagement, graduation, or celebrating a newborn, KAHI Radio connects me with my target audience like only radio can. Thanks, KAHI.
To advertise your business on KAHI Radio, contact the KAHI sales staff at 530-885-5636 today.
20 seconds to the top of the hour, gang. That is 1 hour down. 2 more to go. Pausing now for station identification. Kapow.
K283CN Auburn and AM 950 KAHI Auburn.
And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th, and it is right smack dab at the top of the hour, 7 a.m. here at FM 104.5, AM 950 KAHI. You know what it is. It is the voice of the foothills. Hope your Monday morning is starting off well. We are kicking things off this week again with Independent Bookstore Day. A little bit later this hour, Glen from Winston Books is going to be here. You know, Winston Books here in town, just right on Lincoln Avenue right there. Right on, is it Avenue Way? Is it Lincoln? Is it? I can never remember. Anyway, Lincoln and High Street. I always get those streets mixed up as well. But hey, anyway, Glen is going to be here from Winston Books. Excited to talk to him. And do you have any bookstore stories growing up? Man, I top of last hour I shared that we went to my family. We would go to Grass Valley on when it was cloudy. We grew up down in the valley there, and when it was cloudy in the valley, we'd come up here, get above the clouds, and go to Grass Valley. We would have breakfast at Toffanelli's. Then we would go to different used bookstores around town there. My dad would he could sniff these things out. He would just find these bookstores and he would sniff them out. And we'd go in there and we would just be in there for hours. And it was such a drag. Oh my gosh. As a kid, I was just like, oh, do we have to go to the bookstore again? But that was it. But I don't think this was his plan. Maybe it was his plan all along on the side. But after a while of spending time in there, you're forced to finally be curious and to look around like, well, if I'm going to be here for hours on end, where it seemed like hours on end, it was probably maybe 45 minutes, but seemed like as a kid, it seemed forever. You started poking around and you started snooping around. You're like, oh, well, that looks interesting. Well, maybe I'll look at that book. Hey, here's a history book. And through that, I developed my love of history. I found all these different books and got to sit there and read. And then you just find yourself kind of plopping down in an aisle. And that's the beauty of being in a bookstore, isn't it? If you just find something and you stand there and you're reading it for a little bit and you're like, maybe I'll just find a little chair over here. I know they want you to buy it, but also just being in there and exploring new titles, finding new genres, stuff like that. Always exciting. One of the most unique bookstores I've ever been to. It's an independent store. Now you got to travel a bit. You got to go overseas for this. But I had the opportunity in my early 20s to go over to France there in Paris, right across the street from the Notre Dame. There, it's called Shakespeare and Company. Now it's pretty famous, and if you've been there, you know you know. If you haven't been there, it is a fantastic store. It's run. I don't know who it's run by now, but it was started, I think, back post World War II, and it was in there, and it's this very independent bookstore, like aspiring. I mean, you name a famous writer that's probably been there, stayed there. There's a little sleeping place where aspiring writers could stay, and a little apartment up there where they could kind of sleep and stay for a while. It is literally, it looks like it's off a movie. Go into this, it's called Shakespeare and Company. Go in there and check it out, and all books from all around. We had a friend of mine. He was actually a volunteer of mine once back in another life. He helped volunteer and help me out with some media work, and he was just a teenager then, and then he's grown up now and went overseas. And actually, his now wife, he proposed to her there at Shakespeare and Company overseas there, and had the ring inside of a book there. And as she was going through it, she opened it up. It's just one of those darling little things where it just happens. That's right. Yeah, that's right, Adam. I said darling little thing. This is one of those things that just happens, as you go along life, and you can say, hey, I've been there. Oh my gosh, I've been there. Have you been to Powell's Books up in Oregon, up in Portland there? It's the size of a city block there. I believe it was an old car dealership. That bookstore right there. So many gems here that we just walk by sometimes every day, or we don't think about. And I love having these fun little days like this where we can highlight these different things in our life and in our society and in our culture that maybe we don't think about all the time. And sometimes maybe we take a little bit for granted, but still are very, very important parts of our community, of our lives, and our society. So looking forward to talking to Glen from Winston Books about Independent Bookstore Day. That is today. And by the way, today is your birthday, happy stinking birthday to you. You share a birthday with probably one of the most famous comedians of all time, Jerry Seinfeld, born on this day in 1954. Daniel Day-Lewis probably came out as an actor when he was born, a very method actor. What is it like to be a baby? Daniel Day-Lewis, born on this day in 1957. Michelle Pfeiffer, born on this day in 1958. Uma Thurman, born on this day in 1970. Also, Andre Agassi, tennis player. I don't know, it doesn't need much description there. Born on this day in 1970 as well. Hey, we need to find out what this day is looking like weather-wise. For that, we turn it over to meteorologist Tim Root. Timmy, how are we looking today?
Temperatures today with sunshine around 68, 69, and a northwest wind about 10 miles per hour. Mid-40s tonight, mostly clear, very light winds. It'll be upper end 70, a little bit warmer Tuesday, mostly sunny, and a little bit warmer Wednesday, mostly sunny skies.
Darling?
Mid-70s or 7:30.
Darling?
Upper 70s Friday, mostly sunny.
That's a Lorraine Fry influence right there.
Be sure to listen to the Garden Goddesses Saturday morning right here on the Voice of the Foothills.
In Mississippi from the Garden
That's so
Goddesses.
funny.
Thanks for being a loyal listener, and please join us every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 on
Inch by inch, row by row.
while we know about gardening.
I've learned so much myself. I've only been here. You can learn so much on this show. It is the ultimate gardening show.
Absolutely. So join us Saturday morning from 8 to 9.
Right here on the Voice of the Foothills.
6 minutes past the top of the hour. Coming up in our next segment, your Fox Business Report, local calendar happenings as well. Back now to America's First News. Woo. Okay. Let's go record the news, because that other one was a disaster.
The destruction was extensive in Sulphur, a town of about 5,000 people south of Oklahoma City, where a tornado crumpled many downtown buildings, tossed cars and buses, and shattered the roofs off houses across a 15-block radius. Governor Kevin Stitt.
Definitely the most damage since I've been governor. I've seen a lot of damage. I've been around the state for it's my 6th year, but what I saw downtown Sulphur, it's unbelievable. We've had 4 confirmed fatalities. I spoke with the administrator of FEMA earlier today, and she offered her assistance and told me to thank the president. We're working on the damage assessment. We got Anna with the emergency management department. Should be working on all that. The federal government will help these people. The Red Cross is already set up kind of a dormitory. We had 25 families stay there last night. I talked to one of the families that had to be rescued from their house. The Red Cross, the families, other church organizations, youth groups where they're volunteering. They expect more than the 25 families staying there.
Elsewhere, tornadoes Friday in Iowa and Nebraska also caused widespread destruction. One death. A tornado in suburban Omaha demolished homes, businesses Saturday, moved for miles through farmland into subdivisions and hit an Iowa town. The tornado damage started Friday afternoon near Lincoln, Nebraska, an industrial building in Lancaster County, causing it to collapse with 70 people inside. Several were trapped, but everybody was evacuated. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken today begins his 7th diplomatic mission to the Middle East since the Israel-Hamas war began more than 6 months ago. He has his work cut out for him. The war has cracked on since Hamas' deadly October 7th attacks on Israel with little end in sight. Over 34,000 Palestinians have been killed. Hundreds of thousands more are displaced, and a humanitarian crisis in Gaza is worsening. The conflict has fueled mass protests across the world, and it's spread to American college campuses. U.S. support for Israel, particularly arms transfers, has come under particular criticism, something the administration is keenly aware poses potential problems for President Joe Biden in an election year. Russian President Vladimir Putin plans to visit China in May in what could become the first foreign trip for a Russian leader after he extended his rule by more than 6 more years, an election that offered voters little real choice. Russia's growing economic and diplomatic isolation because of its war against Ukraine has made it increasingly reliant on China. Its former rival for leadership of the communist bloc during the Cold War. China hasn't provided direct military assistance to Russia, but in a visit to Beijing, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said China is supplying what's needed to make the weapon.
China is the top supplier of machine tools, microelectronics, nitrocellulose, which is critical to making munitions, rocket propellants, and other dual-use items that Moscow is using to ramp up its defense industrial base. A defense industrial base that is churning out rockets, drones, tanks, and other weapons that President Putin is using to invade a sovereign country, to demolish its power grid and other civilian infrastructure, to kill innocent children, women, and men. Russia would struggle to sustain its assault on Ukraine without China's support.
China has also proposed a peace plan that's largely been dismissed by Ukraine's allies, who insist that Moscow must withdraw its forces first as a condition for peace. A former paramedic who injected Elijah McClain with a powerful sedative avoided prison time Friday and was sentenced to 14 months in jail and work release and probation for the killing of a black man that helped fuel the 2020 racial injustice protests. Jimmy Cooper faced up to 3 years in prison for being found guilty last year of criminally negligent homicide for administering a dose of the sedative ketamine to McClain. Judge Mark Warner said evidence showed Cooper did not purposely give McClain an overdose, rejecting claims by prosecutors. The paramedic acted with indifference. Janine McClain walked out of the courtroom as Cooper tried to apologize for killing her son.
Jeremy Cooper followed the crowd of cowards and displayed his immorality through the lens of his own cluelessness. Before Jeremy Cooper injected the drug ketamine into my son's unconscious body, Jeremy Cooper did what he felt was best. He did nothing. Human justice does not come anywhere close to what true accountability is. So I will continue to say, meditate, and pray for divine justice for my son, Elijah McClain. From my heart to my hands. Long live Elijah McClain, always and forever.
There's so much I want to say to you. First, I wanted you to know how sorry I am I couldn't speak. How beyond forever devastated I am that I didn't get to hear your last words.
The other paramedic involved in McClain's death received a more severe punishment after being convicted on an additional charge of felony assault. McClain's name became a rallying cry in protest over racial injustice in policing that swept the country in 2020. The House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan attempted to blame the Biden administration for lack of progress and evidence in House Republicans' investigations into President Biden and other political figures. Jordan was confronted by Fox Business Network's Maria Bartiromo on investigations that are going nowhere.
People are sick and tired of letters being written and sent to the people who we know are bad in the first place. They want you to do something about it. You're an elected official. What can you do to right these wrongs?
Well, we've passed legislation out of the committee that would help remedy this situation, particularly the one in New York. The president or vice president can move a case to federal court from when you do these state prosecutors who are going after someone for a political reason. So we're a legislative branch. We can't put anyone in jail. And I don't think the Biden administration, their DOJ is going to go after the people who need to go after. You're just not going to get that from Merrick Garland. I mean, I asked the question a couple weeks ago. We don't know from the Biden administration who planted the pipe bombs on January 6th.
He went on to feign outrage while blaming the Biden administration for failed GOP investigations. House Republicans on the Judiciary and Oversight Committees have struggled to close their impeachment probe into Biden and are facing rising doubts from their own party about whether investigators discovered any wrongdoing. You're listening to America's First News.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance.
I like that one.
Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so
yeah,
you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the
Newcastle,
or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call now and get a price within 2 minutes. Very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need.
855 share 40. Dang it. And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th, and it is 14 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:14 a.m. And good morning to you, Newcastle. Currently 51 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today of 72 degrees. All right, let's turn it over now to the Fox Business Report.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report. Domino's was my marker. More than 7%. The pizza company's sales, earnings, and revenue came in stronger than Wall Street was predicting.
Woo!
Loyalty program Uber Eats.
One of those days, huh?
U.S. sales at existing restaurants were up more than 5.5%. Domino's also is giving customers a $3 coupon to use on the following week's online order. They tip their driver. Tesla shares are up more than 12.5%. CEO Elon Musk made a quick trip to China over the weekend. And reports say he has a deal to use self-driving technology in China in a partnership with China's tech company Baidu. There's a bank merger. Denver-based Heartland Financial is being sold to Kansas City's UMB Financial for about $2 billion. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jim Priscilla. Invested in you.
You can host the best backyard barbecue. When you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Hello, KAHI listeners. This is Ann Hidalgo, your host of Time for Seniors. You might be used to hearing
Ann.
on Saturdays, but we moved to 12 noon. The Time for Seniors is your local senior research show for you to all the important information concerning seniors. We talk health, financials, medical, keep you updated on current scams, hear inspirational stories, and laugh at ourselves a little. So tune in Saturdays at noon on FM 104.5 and AM 950. KAHI, the voice of the foothills.
16 minutes past the top of the hour. It is 7:16 a.m. Gang, here is another event for your calendar. It is the Foothills Brew Fest, and it is coming up here pretty quick. It is going to be on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, by the way. It's going to be from 1 to 5 p.m. It's going to be at the Gold Country Fairgrounds. General admission and entry and first pour is going to be at 1 p.m. Now, check it out, gang. If you're a VIP, then you get your entry at 12 p.m. and also your first pour an hour early at 12 p.m. You can find out more at foothillsbrewfest.com. Again, that's foothillsbrewfest.com. Now, listen to this. Now, advance purchase, you want to get your tickets ahead of time. Advance purchase tickets are going to be $45 for general admission, $60 for VIP admission. Now, if you wait till the day of the event, general admission is going to be $60 and VIP admission is going to be $75. So you want to get your tickets ahead of time. Save yourself a little bit of money there. Proceeds benefit the Rotary Club of Auburn and Gold Country Fair Heritage Foundation. There's going to be food trucks there. There's going to be music. There's going to be games. There's going to be, beer, of course, from a great regional breweries. And that's going to be supporting a great cause. Again, it's going to be proceeds go to the Rotary Club of Auburn and the Gold Country Fair Heritage Foundation. Foothill Brewfest coming May the 4th. Time is going to be from 1 to 5 p.m. for general admissions. But if you're a VIP, again, your entry will be at 12 p.m. Also, that will be the time of your first pour. Get your tickets at foothillsbrewfest.com. Back with more right after this.
The state of California has millions of regulations.
Well, there's that. But surprisingly, air submission.
That means they can send a salesman to your home that looks like
All right.
a technician but knows next to servicing your heating and air system. His only focus is to sell you a new one. That'll never happen.
We got some plumber dad jokes coming in. Love it.
Or save $2,500 on a brand new heating and air system plus an additional $500 rebate. Replace your old R22 system. Details at 916-378-6270 or BigMountainAir.com.
18 minutes past the top of the hour. It is 7:18. Coming up in our next segment, daily dad jokes. I see them coming into the inbox right now, live at KAHI.com. Some plumber jokes. I'm here for them. See you back here at the bottom of the hour. What did the plumber say to the lady when he was standing in front of her sink? I'm at your disposal. What do Italian plumbers use? No, I don't need you. What do Italian plumbers use to contact the dead? A Luigi board. Luigi board. That's good. All right. Between that and our bookstore jokes. Oh, thank you. My hair looks great. It feels a little wild today. Thanks, son.
Through our Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. That will allow us to procure new capabilities for Ukraine from the U.S. industry. This is the largest security assistance package.
Building resistance had functioning with all cylinders. That is correct. Just calling left a message to the bookstore. He mentioned that he thought the day is marked incorrectly on our calendar. Celebrated on Saturday, but I guess celebrating today is fine. See you on Monday, so you should be in. He seems very
and sustainment support.
precise.
Us all in terms of making Patriot the silver bullet.
All right.
I would say that it's gonna be the integrated air and missile defense, as we said.
Does it look okay?
Before, that really turns the tide. And so there are other capabilities that they need that we really pushed hard to get, and we may be able to get to the Ukrainians a bit faster. But this work continues on.
In its latest operational assessment, the Institute for Strategic War predicted late Saturday that Russian forces will likely make significant tactical gains in the coming weeks.
All right.
As acute ammunition shortages
Oh, wait.
Ukraine's efforts.
And I need to have
Australia,
this
one of
open.
Ukraine's largest non-NATO donors, announced a military aid package worth around $65 million to support Kiev's war effort. Australia's Defense Minister Richard Marles made the announcement in Ukraine days after the U.S. announcement.
Today we are announcing the next package of support for Ukraine, totaling $100 million.
But this tranche is just the next tranche.
And let's try our dad joke. It's time for your daily dad jokes. That's my right, made you laugh. Roll your eyes. Okay.
Ukraine must prevail for the future of global peace and security.
Australia has also imposed restrictions on hundreds of Russian politicians, including President Vladimir Putin, military commanders, and business people. They're the most sweeping sanctions Australia has ever put on another country. The United Nations Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights condemned reports from Iran of increasingly strict enforcement of the state's hijab laws for women and girls, and a report of a new draft bill that would impose severe punishments. At a news conference in Geneva, the High Commissioner's spokesperson, Jeremy Lawrence, condemned the crackdown.
We have received information that uniformed and plainclothes police in Iran are enforcing a violent crackdown throughout the country against women and girls under the country's strict hijab laws, as well as men who are supporting them. There have been reports of widespread arrests and harassment of women and girls, many between the ages of 15 and 17. On the 21st of April, the Tehran head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced the creation of a new body to enforce existing mandatory hijab laws, adding that Guard members have been trained to do so in a more serious manner in public spaces. Reports indicate that hundreds of businesses have been forcibly closed for not enforcing compulsory hijab laws, and surveillance cameras are being used to identify women drivers not complying with the laws. This bill must be shelved.
The Human Rights Office also called for the release of 33-year-old rapper Tumaj Alehi, who was sentenced to death for supporting nationwide protests in 2022, sparked by the death in police custody of 22-year-old Masa Amini. The nation's economy slowed sharply last quarter to a 1.6% annual pace in the face of high interest rates, but consumers kept spending at a solid pace. Republican critics of President Joe Biden have sought to pin responsibility for high prices on Biden and use it to derail his re-election bid. And polls show that despite the healthy economy and near record high stock market, many Americans hold dim views of Biden's handling of the economy. Chair of the Council of the Economic Advisors, Jared Bernstein, asked how he framed the data and if there should be any concerns over consumer sentiment.
Well, first of all, consumers should have whatever degree of concern they have. We're not in the business of telling people how they should feel about the economy. It is true that the Michigan sentiment indicator is up 25% since November. We've seen increases, interestingly, among Democrats, Independents, Republicans, and that's been good to see. And I think it's tracked some of the improvements that we saw in inflation, especially the disinflation in the latter half of last year. Now, look, inflation is still down 60% from its peak. It was nice to hit the expectations number for the PCE, both headline and core, this morning. And in terms of the GDP growth, the 3% year over year, it is true that there's some noisy sectors there. Inventories is another one, along with net exports. But as long as real consumer spending, fueled by the tight job market and rising real wages, continues to help support consumers in their spending and their incomes and their rising disposable incomes, even after inflation, I think that's a good sign for consumers, and probably behind that improvement that we've seen over the longer term sentiment indices. When it comes to inflation, I think the question there, we should get into it if you want, which is are the forces that helped with the disinflation in the second half of this year, are they just on a break or are they gone? And obviously, we've argued that they are that they're still there, and that we expect inflation to continue a bumpy path down towards target. When it comes to the housing market, which is where, of course, Fed policy always bites first, I mean, there is a really remarkable kind of a gap between the effective mortgage rate, which is the average of all the outstanding mortgages. It's in the 3 to 4% range, and the mortgage rate, at 7% if you go out and get a new mortgage. That's the lock-in effect right there. That spread. That's a really important kind of overlooked spread. And so I think Fed policy is very much, again, I won't talk about the granular policy, but I think it's incorrect to conclude that it isn't having, an effect or even much of an effect on the economy.
Bernstein making the comments to Bloomberg. The economy's gradual slowdown reflects in part much higher borrowing rates for home and auto loans, credit cards, and many business loans. Though the Fed's policymakers signaled last month that they expect to cut rates 3 times this year, they've lately signaled that they're in no hurry to reduce rates. Still, the International Monetary Fund has projected that the world's largest economy will grow 2.7% for all of 2024, up from 2.5% last year, and more than double the growth the IMF expects this year for Germany, France, Italy, Japan, the UK, and Canada. Standard Home shares closed out a relatively solid week Friday, with the S&P 500 rallying 1% to finish its first winning week in the last 4. The Dow rose 153 and the Nasdaq jumped 2%. 3 women who were diagnosed with HIV after getting vampire facial procedures at an unlicensed New Mexico medical spa are believed to be the first documented cases of people contracting the virus through a cosmetic procedure using needles. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that an investigation into the clinic from 2018 through 2023 showed it apparently reused disposable equipment intended for one-time use. New Mexico's Department of Health started investigating the spa in the summer of 2018 after it was notified a woman in her 40s tested positive for HIV, even though she had no known risk factors. The spa closed in the fall of 2018 after the investigation was launched and its owner was prosecuted for practicing medicine without a license. The report said the investigation shows how important it is to require infection control practices at businesses that offer cosmetic procedures involving needles. Reach out to me anytime across the board on social media at Matt Ray Talk. More on the way on this Monday morning. You're listening to America's First News.
Breaking news first, America's First News. We'll be right back.
Now, time for another Otis Advisory. In the new America, everyone will have an AI personal assistant to handle the little things, like writing thank you notes. Goes like this. Dear Aunt Minnie, or current resident, consider this your pretend but casually believable thank you note from your nephew Scooter in settlement for your recent door-to-door delivery to e-house. Nephew Scooter would like to be perceived as grateful in some way for the liquid container of poultry and boiling water, plus the listed carbohydrates as pulled from dirt. Young Scooter wants you to believe somehow that the items held some real meaning in his unremarkable.
Okay, here we
Please
go.
continue to feel self-satisfied in an for sending these wet provisions without government requirement to do so.
All right.
Bravo on your behalf. And Minnie from AI personal assistant to nephew Scooter. This matter is now closed. Yeah, we're gonna need the jaws of life to get us out of this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, who are these going to be?
Back when Pluto was a planet and all the cute girls drove Chargers, we didn't have it this way. You could spend all day writing thank you notes and bad checks and try not to blur the lines. Kind of makes you wish you could go back and lie down on the sidewalk right there in your own chalk outline, at least until all the improvements stop. Too late now. Of course, today's AI can be best enjoyed by the candlelight of burning tires. This is your Uncle Otis. I'll see you at the Peace Mark.
And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th. It is 30 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:30 a.m. And good morning to you, Lake of the Pines. Currently, it is 50 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today of 69 degrees. All right, there it is. Wow. There we go. It is time for your... Oh, man, I need to clear my throat. Hang on one second. There we go. It is time for your daily dad jokes. This is... Throat can't be clogging up on this most sacred time of the day. Time for your daily dad jokes. That's right. Make you laugh, sigh, probably roll your eyes. We've got some good ones coming in. We've got a couple from Sarah T here. Plumbers, these are satisfying to my soul. Plumbers jokes. I spent most of yesterday's working on the pipes in my house. So I could have used these yesterday, Sarah, but thank you so much. I appreciate you sending these in. How about this one? What did the plumber say to the lady when he was standing in front of her sink? I'm at your disposal. That's a good one. I like this one. Here's another one. Again, you can send me yours live at KAHI.com, LIVE at KAHI.com. What do Italian plumbers use to contact the dead? A Luigi board. Get it, Mario, Luigi. Okay, here we go. How about another one? Did you hear about the thieves that broke into the police station and stole all the toilets? The police have nothing to go on. Oh my gosh, that is good. All right, it is Independent Bookstore Day, and we have some producer Adam, keep the music going. We're not done yet. We've got some bookstore jokes. How about this one? What kind of wave hits a bookstore? Any guesses? A tidal wave. There we go. Why should you choose your local bookstore? I went to a large bookstore and asked the lady at the counter where the self-help section was. She said if she would tell me, she said she would tell me, hang on. She said if she would tell me, it would defeat the very purpose of it. Okay, I messed that reading up. All right, here we go. A girl came into my bookstore and asked, what are the chances you have a book on curing eating disorders with religion? Slim to none. All right, okay, here we go. How about this one? I saw a book at a bookstore called How to Solve 50% of Your Problem. So I bought 2. Okay, there we go. We're back on track now. What do you call a bookstore that's also a bar? Tequila Mockingbird. Really? Okay. I went to my local bookstore today and took a class. Let's see. I went to my local bookstore today and took a look at the classic section. It was lit. I think literature. Because literature. All right. And those are your daily dad jokes. Oh, for this Monday, April 29th. Again, send me yours live at KAHI.com, or you can call me 530-885-3565. Back with more right after this.
Weekdays from 1 to 4 on the Voice of the Foothills. Hi, I'm Jerry Martin, Gen X. I'm David Van Camp, the Millennial, and me, Scott Robbins, the Boomer. Check out the Martin Van Camp and Robbins Show weekdays 1 to 4. We talk about everything that's going on in the world, and we make fun of it all. 3 generations.
I don't think my heart was in that one. I don't know why.
At the same time. Let's see how much we can tweak Robbins.
But they were good.
Van Camp and Robbins Show. Weekdays from 1 to 4 on the Voice of the Foothills.
Okay, Timmy, you're up.
104.5 and AM 950 KAHI. Monday weather forecast is calling for sunny, dry weather for the next couple of days. Temperatures today with sunshine around 68, 69, and a northwest wind about 10 miles per hour. Mid-40s tonight, mostly clear, very light winds. It'll be up around 70.
Okay.
A bit warmer Tuesday, mostly sunny. And a little bit warmer Wednesday, mostly sunny skies in the
go.
low 70s. Mid-70s or so Thursday, upper 70s Friday, mostly sunny skies. This is meteorologist Tim Rick from FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI.
33 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:33 a.m. Coming up in our next segment, Glen from Winston Books is going to be in here celebrating Independent Bookstore Day today. We've got some questions. Hey, what's it like to be an owner of a bookstore? What is that even all about? Maybe some of what his favorite titles are, who he recommends. We'll find out all that coming up. Back now to America's First News.
Biden again spoke with Foreign Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Pressure built on Israel and Hamas.
Okay.
Israeli hostages in a ceasefire in the nearly 7-month-long war in Gaza. Biden National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby told ABC this week Hamas is considering the deal. Secretary of State Anthony.
I love how this is on the street. I feel like I have a little storefront here where people are just going to come in and they come and say hello, and we all just hang out, talk for a little bit.
To allow for easier in Gaza, particularly up in the north. So he's going to be working on that very, very hard. He'll also be talking to the Israelis about
okay, here we go. Finish listening to the news.
Where they are in the planning stages for that. If they go into Rafah, ceasefire is off. Any prospect of any short ending to this war is completely over. Well, look, I think again we have to have a better understanding from the Israelis about what they want to do. As a matter of fact, we've had several staff talks with them. We intend to do that more. They've assured us that they won't go into Rafah until we've had a chance to really share our perspectives and our concerns with them. So we'll see where that goes. Obviously, George, if we're able to get this hostage deal in place, and we are still working on that, Hamas has not fully rejected it. They are considering this proposal on the table. If we can get that in place, then that gives you 6 weeks of peace. It gives you no fighting for 6 weeks, and that includes no fighting in Rafah. And what we're hoping is that after 6 weeks of a temporary ceasefire, we can maybe get something more enduring in place. We want to see an end to the conflict as soon as possible.
The White House said Biden reiterated his clear position as Israel plans to invade Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah, despite global concern for more than 1 million Palestinians sheltering there. The U.S. opposes the invasion on humanitarian grounds, straining relations between the allies. Meanwhile, a letter written by Biden and 17 other world leaders urged Hamas to release their citizens immediately. In recent days, Hamas has released new videos of the hostages, an apparent push for Israel to make concessions. Anna Siegel, Denise Keith Siegel, told CBS's Face the Nation she worries a deal to exchange hostages is not in the political interest of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
I do think a deal can be reached. I mean, we know that. The deal was reached in November
dozens of women and children were released, including my aunt, Aviva Siegel. So we know that it's possible, and I do think that's really important to remember. The United States played a critical role in November. I think, ultimately this is a negotiation between Hamas and Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel. And one of the things that really worries my family and worries me is that it's arguably not in Prime Minister Netanyahu's political interest to close a deal. And, for us, this is the moment. These videos, as you know, there was a video released a couple of days ago of another American hostage, Hirsch Goldberg Poland. I do think that these two videos are a signal from Hamas that they are ready to make a deal, and a reminder that there are American citizens being held, including Keith. I think, there is a lot swirling in the political landscape in Israel, and I'm not here to talk about that, but there have been negotiations going on for months now. We're at 205 days. There have been deals on the table, and they've proven elusive. And I worry that that is because of Prime Minister Netanyahu. So I think that now is the moment. I have faith that we can do a deal now, but I also think that if that isn't possible, then the Biden administration.
Hello, I'm Chris. Hi, Chris. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, appreciate it.
So, quick question.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if this was going to be live or recorded.
It is live and recorded.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was just if it was live, I was going to send a text to my family.
Do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There it goes.
And I can also send you the recording when we're done.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
As well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, for sure.
So, a couple things real quick.
Yes.
It's not independent bookstore today.
Well, according to my little dollar calendar that I got from Grocery Outlet, it says that it is.
That was on Saturday.
Oh, it's on Saturday. That makes more sense.
Yeah,
on the
it's
weekend.
I think it's the last Saturday of April.
Okay.
Is when they do it.
Okay.
So you're close, but
We're close. All right.
Yeah, close. Emily, she suggested the idea that talk about an independent bookstore day. Well, I don't participate in an independent bookstore.
Okay.
Because I'm a used books bookstore. Independent bookstore day is more for new books bookstores. I'd be happy to talk about it, but I don't really do the party.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the differences, why I don't do that, why they do it.
Okay.
So maybe that. I'm not a book expert. I'm not a.
Okay, but do you have like a favorite title? Any favorite titles?
Well,
like if somebody walks in, if I walk in and say, "All right, Glenn, I'm looking for something new. What do you got?" I'm a history guy, but
that changes because as I'm reading, I'm discovering new stuff myself.
Perfect.
And that changes from time to time. I do have a couple of books that are in print, so they're easy to get.
Yeah.
It's not always easy to find a used title.
Okay.
So I can't always have this particular used title.
Right.
I'm always looking for certain used titles, but I can't always find them.
Do you?
But it's easy to click and order new titles.
Right.
So when someone walks in, I try to have a few that I can count on.
Yeah.
There when
Yeah.
someone walks in.
Okay.
But
Okay. Yeah. I would just love to find out about like how do you decide how to arrange the books? What section goes where? Do you ever switch up the sections because you're bored of having like mysteries over here? Like I feel they'd be more mysterious in that corner over there. Just kind of like
that would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about
yeah. So stuff like that. I mean, I've got some questions, and I mean, maybe we'll kind of go off of.
I think that's a reach personally.
Yeah, like for someone who might be hesitant about buying used books, like what are some hidden gems that you love in your store? Is there maybe I've not really bought a used book before. Like I don't know. Where do I even start? Something like that. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
There. I mean, like I said, it's hard to say. Well, you can always come and get this title,
Right.
But 1984, I always try to keep it in because that's
Okay.
the namesake of the store. Basically.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
But sometimes it's going to be a new book,
Mhm.
a new copy anyway.
Right. Okay.
When I say new book, I mean new copy. I don't
New
mean,
copy.
I
It's
don't
like a
mean
brand new.
I don't mean new release.
Never been opened before, or something like that.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's one that just came from the publisher. Just came
Okay.
from the press.
Okay.
Press.
Do you buy used books?
I
Can
do.
people? Okay.
I do, yeah.
Okay. So maybe something like, what's maybe the oldest copy that's come out? Horseshoes and hand grenades, right?
I
those
currently
to be
have
exact
something
year.
from the 19 or 1720s. That's about as old as I mean.
Whoa.
1720 is not really that old, but it's about the oldest that I've seen around.
1720. Oh well, it's an old book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you sell that, or is that?
It's for sale.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in the shop.
Okay. Fantastic.
And just because it's so old doesn't mean it's real pricey.
Okay.
It's not that pricey.
Okay.
I think I've got 120 on it. So.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
All
right.
It's a Dutch copy of the Axe of the Romans.
Really? Okay.
In Dutch.
Okay. In Dutch. Wow, and that's somebody just brought that in. That was somebody just.
I can't remember where I got that. It's
okay,
like,
all right.
It's like snacks. You can't remember what you snacked on a few months ago. I don't remember where I found my books.
There's a lot of them. There's probably a lot to keep track of. Okay. And how long have you been there? I mean, I know
The
it's
store's been there for 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
This is its 20th year.
Right. And have you?
I've had it for 7 years.
For 7 years. Okay. All right. That's right. Okay. Nice. Cool. Oh, I'm so interested. All right. I don't want to. I don't want to surprise you with any questions, but there's just so many questions.
It's all right.
The
kind
well,
of questions
like
I don't
led
really
you to?
want to do is be quizzed on
Like-
scholarly stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a scholar. I don't think of myself as a book expert.
Yeah.
I'm learning more and more about books all the time.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else that's interested in books.
For sure. Yeah.
And so if I miss a question on one of those kind of things, it's like,
Yeah.
well, there's an example of how you don't have to be an expert at something to do it.
Yeah.
you
For
know?
sure.
And
Yeah.
you know,
I'm just kind of more interested in your story. Is it Winston Books for it? I always think Winston. I don't know if I think Winston Smith, but
it's Winston Smith.
It's Winston Smith.
Winston Smith books.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I don't know why I just put to Winston Books. So, okay, cool. All right. So those are your headphones right there, so you can kind of hear everything that's going on. This will be your. That's okay. That's
This could be the most important
kind of
10-minute
bigger
call
for that.
you will ever make.
This will
You
just
could
be
recover up to $26,000 for
kind of right in
free
front of
today.
you.
And all you have to do is make
Backwards.
one short
That's right.
10-minute
Oh,
call.
yeah, they kind of
Oh, they flipped around. Okay.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, I
And
know.
then I
I
can
know.
just-
Head earmuff that.
And that probably about that width from there. And we'll just have some fun. We'll probably break at one point for commercials and then come back and end kind of near 8 o'clock. So we'll probably go about 10-15 minutes. But yeah, appreciate you coming in.
No problem. Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to shout out. Who should we shout out? I'll shout out Meadow Vista. We'll give them a shout out. All right, we got about 10 seconds here.
That's 800-300-9ERC. 1-800-300-9ERC. Or visit OmegaTextCredit.com.
And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th, and it is 15 minutes to the top of the hour, 7:45 a.m. here at FM 104.5, AM 950 KAHI. You know what it is. It is the voice of the foothills. And hey, good morning to you, Meadow Vista. Currently, it is 51 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today of 68 degrees. Gang, we've been talking about it all morning. Excited to have Glen from Winston Smith Books here in town in Auburn. Glen, welcome. Thanks for coming in this morning. It's a little early.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for inviting me.
Glad that you're here. Now we were talking about okay, here's behind the scenes. I have this little calendar that I got that it has every day of the month and every day of the year. It says, hey, here's what's happening. I think yesterday was like Blueberry Pie Day or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it says that today is Independent Bookstore Day. But you said when you came in, you're like, well, you're close, but not quite.
Yeah, that's the problem with depending on Google or something like that for your information.
Yeah, my 99-cent calendar from Grocery Outlet. Okay, I got it. Maybe it's not bang on all the time. But tell us a little bit about that. Now, your store is a little bit different. Tell us, first of all, we'll get into that, but just tell us a little bit about the store, where it's located here in Auburn.
So downtown Auburn, near Central Square.
Okay.
Where High Street and Lincoln Way come together.
I always wave at you across the street from Tango when I'm getting my froyo. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Right.
Next time, just walk across the street.
And then say hello and actually come in. Yeah, right. Get away from the fire pit there and go in and say hello. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, and now how long have you been in charge of the store there? Because it's been there for a while, right?
Yeah, the store's been there for 20 years.
Okay.
This is its 20th year. And I came along about 7 years ago.
Okay.
It's been a little over 7 years, I think. And bought the store, took over.
Tell me about the path to get. How do you get in line to buy a bookstore? What path led you there?
Yeah, that's that. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But I just, ever since I was a child, I remember when I was a child, I saw a bookstore. It was loaded with books piled up on the floor and everything. By the way, I have a policy at the store I kind of inherited from one of the previous owners that no books on the floor.
Okay.
So I don't do that.
Okay.
But I walked into a store that had books piled everywhere. And I have books piled behind the counter, but I don't pile them anywhere else.
Okay. All right.
And it's a big pile behind the counter. But, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Because it means I have more work to do, more business to come.
That's good.
But I don't pile them on the floor. But I walked into this bookstore when I was a kid, and I saw the books piled everywhere and books on all the shelves, and some guy with his feet up on the counter, and I thought, wow, this would be cool to have a bookstore someday.
Wow.
And I never forgot that.
Okay.
And I just remember, my mom reading to me when I was a kid. Some important books that I read when I was a child that made an impact on my life, made me, that I still remember. And so when I saw the bookstore was for sale, I knew in my heart that's what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And I changed my career and bought the store.
That is absolutely incredible. Now, I was sharing about that a little bit earlier. That's one of it's a core, we call a core memory. Is my dad had books all in the house. They weren't, well, sometimes they were piled on the floor, but mostly they were on bookshelves. But whenever we would go out on the Saturday, we go up to Grass Valley, and there were these used bookstores up there. I remember we always went to this used bookstore, and I do remember books piled on the floor.
Yeah.
And it was torture. I was like, like any place else but here. But then I grew to love it.
Right.
It was just I don't know if it's just by osmosis or like there was just nothing else to do. So I just gave in and just found myself, before I knew it, I found a little stool and was sitting in the middle of the aisle, and I was finding these books, and turns out I really love history.
I think it's the best way to discover something new.
Oh, it's incredible.
I forget who said it, but somebody important in scholarly works said something one time that an old book is new to someone who hasn't read it yet.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's a great way I think it's the best way to discover something new.
I love it. Now in the store, do people bring in books? Do you buy books from folks, or how does that work?
Yeah, I sell used books, primarily used books. I do have some new titles in the shop, but that's only if I can't find it. If I have a certain title that's selling fast, and people are asking for, then it's in demand in my shop. So I try to stock it. And if I can't find enough used copies, then I order new ones. If it's in print, I can order new ones.
Got it.
And so I do have some new copies of books in the store, but I don't sell. What most people mean when they say new books, they mean a new release.
Right.
Something that's just coming out. I don't really do that.
Okay.
Of course, I can order that for you.
Sure. Okay.
Or you can go to my website and order that. But I'm primarily, into used books.
Okay.
It's stuff that's been around a while and it's tried and true.
Got it. So it's not necessarily a new release, but it can be. The book could be new-ish though, right? Like, tell me about it. Like,
sure.
It's like a new. It's not like coffee.
You asked if I buy books.
Yeah.
Of course, I buy books because I'm selling used books.
Okay.
And I have to buy them from people who use them.
Yeah.
Or I buy them from library sales or estate sales and flea markets and things like that. Wherever I can find a good deal that I can make a good profit and keep the store going on a book. So.
Sure.
I get most of them lately. I've been getting most of them from people bringing them in.
Yeah.
For some reason, since the pandemic, there's been a tidal wave of books coming through my front door.
No kidding.
Before that, it was a little hard to find them sometimes.
Really?
But since then, I don't know what it is, but it's just there's too many coming through. I have to say no. I've actually had to change my policy on when I will do it.
Okay.
I used to do it all the time, but now I can't do that. It's just too much.
What do you think it is? What do you think that made it just all of a sudden all these books are now people are.
Well, I thought it was like a spring cleaning thing
Right.
at first, because people were in their homes for so long. And
Yeah.
then they're sitting around looking, I got to do this, and when I can get out, I got to do that, and I got to do this, and then they start doing like a spring cleaning thing.
Yeah.
And cleaning up their houses that they've been staring at for the last couple of years, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But it's slowed down a little since then, but not completely. So I don't really know why it's going so fast.
Interesting.
Maybe it's just so many people discovered that I buy books.
Right.
And it's keeping on going from that.
I love it.
So
yeah, talking to Glen from Winston Books here in Auburn. Tell us again where the bookstore is located here in Auburn.
It's in downtown Auburn. There's, downtown Auburn is the second major part of Auburn that was built up after the gold rush.
Yes.
The old town was gold rush town. Downtown is the business part of town after that, as far as history goes. And so where Lincoln and High Street come together.
Yeah. Now, short of just walking in the store, how can folks get a hold of you? How can they contact you?
That's it. Walk into the
just
store.
Walk into the store.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can call to get my hours, but the phone is not a productive way for me to use my time.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So let's talk a little bit about used book. Obviously, I think of sometimes I think of this kind of old, and this is the memory that I have as a kid. This old kind of musty bookstore. Same thing. Books on the ground. Your shop is not like that. It's very open, very airy, very light. There's the back section back there where you can kind of delve deep and go towards the back there.
Oh, thank you.
How do you arrange the store? Did you when you got it? Did you just kind of leave stuff where it is, or you think, no, I want that section over there. I want this section over
prior
here.
owners, James Van Eaton and the Bernsteins,
Yeah.
they were partners, and they laid out the main format.
They did.
For the layout of the store. In the first. I think it must have been about 13 years that they had the store before I came along.
Yeah.
And they did a great job of laying it out. So, if you looked out one wall, I could tell you how that's organized, and it's organized very well.
Yeah.
I did change probably about 30% of it.
Okay.
When I bought the store. I brought in some more cabinets, and I added some stock and changed a few places.
Yeah.
But the bones of it is still essentially the same.
I mean, it looks like, just walking, it's just a quintessential bookstore. I love the hardwood floor when you come in and you're sitting there, your counter's off to the right over there.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit, like, what do you determine what's in the window? Is it just what's trending, what's popular, the books that are popping there in the window?
Well, I put stuff in the window that is clean and has some color to it.
Okay.
And it's best, though, if it's got a title that will catch somebody's
real
attention.
big, yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big title, just a subject. I try to put subjects in the window that are going to grab people's attention.
Yeah.
And get their mind going.
Yeah.
And if it's got color to it and it's a bigger book that displays well, that's all the better. And so usually I can find a mix of all that together, put it in the window, and I've got a display table in the center of the store too, where I essentially do the same thing.
It's good.
And there's some people that that's how they buy. They just look at those. They come in, they look at the center table display, they look at the window display, and they buy something off there.
Yeah.
But it brings people in too. So then hopefully they will find their way to that back corner you talked about.
Right.
There's a gem hiding that that they can discover.
I love it. All right, we're talking to Glen from Winston Bookstore. We're going to be back here in just a little bit. We're going to take a break, show some love to our advertisers. Be back right after this. That's awesome. That's really cool. There's like a ton of questions that are just following. I'm just like rabbit trailing.
Nice.
Like I gotta rein it in here for a second and give us some commercial breaks here.
Yeah,
but I actually know James. I met him. I was in one of the plays that he wrote. We did here in Auburn back in Chasing Moonshine. We did that here in Auburn back in the day. That's where I met him.
I got a copy of that at the store.
Yeah.
Put it on the shelf in case anybody comes and asks for it.
Yeah, it's
Try
good.
to keep James represented on the local interest shelf.
Yeah, it's very cool to kind of see. So he was in that show. He got the acting bug when we did that show. Gosh, that was back in 2010. That was a while ago. But yeah, there's a local theater company here in Folsom that does a lot of his stuff that he's connected with, and so I think he did.
What was that you said?
There's a local theater company here in Folsom.
Oh,
that does
stuff.
A lot of his stuff.
Oh,
like
do they?
there's some. He had something else that just came out recently.
Oh,
that they
I
did.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called Free Fall Stage. Is the theater. So yeah, it's very cool. So when you said James, I'm like, oh, that's right, James was there.
I need a note on that Free Fall Stage.
Yeah,
let me check it out.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you know before we go here. All right.
KAHI Radio.
Here. Do that. All right.
Our offices are located throughout California, and we have the opportunity.
All right, we got about 20 seconds here.
With KAHI. Among our other locations, we see the advantage of reaching those who matter most, the local customers.
So I probably should tell people before that I get a flood of more people coming.
Okay.
That when to bring
3 minutes past the top of the hour, or to the top of the hour here at FM 104.5 AM 950 KAHI, voice of the foothills. All right, James, you just tell me James Glen, we're just talking about from Winston Smith Books. What do we need to let folks know? Because we're talking about people bringing in a ton of books.
Yeah, so I don't get a whole bunch of people coming at the wrong time with too many books. I don't want them to have to go through the trouble and me to take a chance that I say no.
Yeah.
It's best to bring them in on a Friday or Saturday morning.
Okay.
At 10.
Okay.
So noon, morning's over by noon.
Okay.
It's best to come earlier than later. And the best way to do that is to actually come in and talk to me first.
Okay.
And then bring the books in. And if you have them in your car, you might need to be prepared to have the second option than just me, because I can't always do it.
Sure.
Most of the time I can on those hours, but I can't always do it.
And what are the hours of the store again? Remind us the hours of the store.
Currently I'm open Wednesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And usually if there's people in the store, I don't kick anyone out at 6. I keep going.
Sure. Yeah. Let them kind of finish and browse and find out what they're looking for. Now, what determines what maybe is acceptable and what are you like, no, I can't take that? What's the criteria? And does it change? Does it just depend?
Sure, that changes all the time. Just as
Yeah.
people's interests change, as my interests change, because I'm reading all the time and learning new things. And but basically I'm not going to take something that exploits the vulnerable.
Okay.
I won't take that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Violence or pornography.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it's something that's about survival, or historic information, or art, things like that. Where do you draw the line? I mean, it's I've had to think a lot about that. But
sure.
That's basically my definition. I won't take something that exploits the vulnerable.
Yeah. That's a good place to start.
And,
I like that.
Outside of that, I'll pretty much take it.
Yeah. Okay.
And everyone's definition of that might be different, but I try to be careful.
Do you have a catalog? So I've already got 3 of that same book. I'm not going to take a 4th copy, or do you keep multiple copies on hand? Does it
I don't have
depend?
enough room to keep multiple copies. I usually only have 1 copy of something. There's a few titles, local hiking books and wildflowers and things like that I might have multiple copies of.
Yeah.
Usually it's 1 book at a time.
Interesting. Talking to Glen from Winston Smith Books here in town. We're going to pause just for a moment for station identification. We'll be back right after this. Top of the hour. It's the last 10 seconds of the hour. It always gets me. So I'm like, I got to remember this.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th, and it is right smack dab at the top of the hour, 8 a.m. here at FM 104.5 AM 950 KAHI. You know what it is. It is the voice of the foothills. If you're just joining us, I'm talking to Glen from Winston Smith Books. Now, Glen, I got you on the premise here that it's Independent Bookstore Day, but you're like, wait, slow your roll, Chris. Hang on a second. That is a thing. That's not a thing that I do. Tell me a little bit about the difference between what you are and maybe what an independent bookstore is defined as.
So, first of all, Independent Bookstore Day was Saturday.
It was Saturday. Okay, that's right. That's right. My calendar was off, but I'm glad it wasn't here on Saturday.
So there's independent bookstores and there's chain bookstores.
Okay.
Big box bookstores and chain bookstores. And the difference is that the chain has to do things the way corporate says. Right? Yep. The independent bookstore does things the way that the local person says.
Okay.
It might be an owner, it might be a manager, but I'm basically a one-man shop. So my store does what I say.
You do what you do. Yeah.
But independent bookstores are different than the chains because they have more. I think they've got more personality, right?
Yeah,
they don't.
For sure.
They're not all just cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And so that's a big difference. And then the other difference with bookstores, there's a few chains that do used books,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly the difference with independent bookstores is there are new books bookstores and there are used books bookstores.
Right. Okay.
And the new books bookstores, they're the ones that sell the latest release. They do author events. They have a big party on Independent Bookstore Day.
Yeah.
They do all those they survive on events and selling the latest releases.
Right.
And then they have a store full of other titles that if they're there for too long, they return them to the publisher.
Okay.
I don't return anything.
Oh, okay.
Because I take the risk and I buy something that's got to sell, right?
Right.
I might pass it on to charity, but almost everything I select sells.
Okay.
So I don't really have to pass that much on to charity of books that I've chosen for sale.
Right.
I do pass tens of thousands. I've probably passed, I don't know. It's tens of thousands of books.
Yeah. Over the last 7 years that you've been there.
Yes.
Wow. No kidding. My goodness gracious.
And in order to select, you asked earlier how I select books.
Yeah.
Well, I have literally searched through shelves and boxes and houses of people, estate sales or library sales, literally millions, well over 1 million books.
No kidding.
To find what I stock at the store. I carry about 45,000 titles. And so it's a long, hard search to find good stuff.
I love it. And just the thought that goes into that is probably something doesn't appreciate or consider is all the thought that goes into what you have throughout the store, the actual hand picking that goes into these books. Now, what is the people bringing in books, probably books of all types in different conditions? What is the oldest book? Do you know what the oldest book is?
The oldest book I have in the shop at the moment is from 1720.
Wait, like 1700, like the 1700s, 1720.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
So 1720.
Holy smokes.
It's a copy of the Acts from the Bible.
Okay.
It's in Hebrew.
Really?
It's about 3 inches thick. It's made of vellum, which is a type of leather.
Okay.
They did back then. And
is the condition? Is it in good condition?
It's in great shape. Vellum over time begins to dry out. It begins to tighten up.
Yeah.
And work. And that's happening to this book. It's still in great shape, though. It's readable. It's not falling apart.
Wow. That's amazing.
And, if you can read Dutch or you're interested in a Dutch title on your shelf, or Dutch text on your shelf, there it is.
Yeah. And do you store it any different than any of the? Is it in a special case or in a bag or anything?
No, it's just on the shelf.
No kidding.
I keep it under glass so it's not manhandled by too many customers.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's a big challenge of mine is to get a cool book that everybody wants to touch.
Yeah.
To get it to the point of sale before it gets destroyed. That's a big challenge.
Wow.
So some of those I have to put under glass.
That's amazing, Glenn. All right, we've got about a minute left here, but just in that last minute, as people bring in books, are anything like inscriptions? Do you make note of the inscriptions that are anything written in the margins? Is there anything ever that's interesting that's come across your desk there that's ever stood out to you?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I find love notes. I find all kinds of interesting things, bookmarks or things that are inserted in the book. And there's a lot of fun things I find that way. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head anything interesting to tell you, but
I love it.
Those love notes are some of the funnest ones because
just a note tucked in the book that maybe somebody forgot about, or it's just written in
it might
the book.
be written on the front, inside front cover, or
interesting.
It might be a love note that's tucked in like a bookmark.
Yeah.
The best of those I save. I have a little bag full of them. Someday I ought to get it out and make a display.
You could make a book out of it. there's a book idea.
People who've done that.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh,
Booksellers,
shoot! I thought I had an original idea.
Who have done that, yes.
What a great idea! It's like a coffee table book about coffee tables, but a book about all the inscriptions inside of a book. I love it. Hey, Glenn, one more time, just let us know where folks can find you and the hours that they can find you at.
So Winston Smith Books, downtown Auburn. WinstonSmithBooks.com if you want to order online or see my hours or something like that. But come on, walk into my shop. downtown Auburn, where High Street and Lincoln Way come together.
I love it. Glenn, thanks so much for coming in. We're going to rush off now to America's First News. We'll be back right after this. Glenn, that was awesome, man. That was fun. Hopefully I didn't throw you for any any loops or anything like that. So that was totally fun. I love it. Hey, can you give me your email address? I'll send you the audio, the recording of it, and then I'll write down that theater company for you. And yeah, it'll just come as an MP3, so feel free to do with it what you want.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, if we call you in again sometime to come and chat and talk about books or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
that'd be fun. Let's do
awesome.
it.
Cool.
So there's that.
Love it. And then the company that does a lot of James's or just did some of his stuff recently, it's called Free Fall Stage, and they just search them. They're out of Folsom. But, they're I think freefallstage.com is there. But yeah, they're a local theater company. They've done a lot of great stuff. I've done some shows with them. Really great people. So anyway,
I might have to go check them out.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right,
Glenn.
Chris.
Appreciate it,
Thanks.
man. I'm gonna grab the phone here, but
Yeah.
have a great rest of your day. All right, we'll see you later. KAHI Radio. This is Chris.
Tornado Friday in Iowa and Nebraska also caused widespread destruction and were blamed for one death. A tornado in suburban Omaha demolished homes and businesses Saturday as it moved for miles through farmland into subdivisions and hit an Iowa town.
Oh, I know, right? They're running that special right now. Isn't it great to find out about that stuff?
70 people inside. Several were trapped, but everybody was evacuated. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Since the Israel-Hamas war began more than 6 months ago. He has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he's right next. Yeah, he's right there. Yeah, he's real close. So if you're at the kind of the fire pit there, he's just almost right across the street from that, right in the central square right there. Yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful shop. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. It's really great. Yeah, need to go check it out. Who's this calling, by the way? Hey, Ray. Yeah, thanks for calling. I appreciate that. Thanks for the feedback. That's great. Oh, I think we got it tomorrow. It's like this boba tea. Have you heard of this boba tea there? It's got these little custard. Yeah, I'm not a fan, but yeah, we've got a local store owner. We'll see if we can get her lined up for tomorrow. I'm like, tell me about this boba tea. What the heck? Why do I not like it? Oh, I've served them. Our church has helped them out a few times. Yeah, I love Acres. I love it.
A defense industrial base that is churning out rockets, drones, tanks, and other weapons that President Putin is using to invade a sovereign country, to demolish its power grid.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try and keep a heads out. I look at the chamber, the calendar there too, to make sure that folks know like local events. But yeah, anything that you come across, something like that for Acres or something, let me know. I appreciate it. All right, appreciate it. Thanks for calling. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. That was cool. Heard ABT Plumbing on the other day and called them for a water heater flush and liked about the bookstore there. Listens on the way to work. All right. People are listening. I don't know why they wouldn't be, but it's nice to get the feedback. Okay. Next up, Fox Business Report and traffic. Sorry, Linda. I didn't get if he has audiobooks.
So I will continue to stay, meditate, and pray for divine justice for my son, Elijah McLean. From my heart
save you. First, I want you to know how sorry I am. I couldn't sleep.
Oh, Linda sent me the plumber's jokes. She asked if he had audiobooks. I should ask him about that. Sorry, Linda.
McLean's name became a rallying cry in protest over racial injustice in policing.
Looking forward. I hope you liked it.
House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan attempted to blame the Biden administration for lack of progress and evidence in House Republicans' investigations into President Biden.
Hope you liked it. Smiley face.
Jordan was confronted by Fox Business Network's Maria Bartiromo on investigations that are going nowhere.
People are sick and tired of letters being written and sent to the people who we know are bad in the first place. They want you to do something about it. You're an elected official. What can you do to right these wrongs?
Well, we passed legislation out of the committee that
There
would
you
help
go.
remedy this situation, particularly the
Delete
one in
these
New York.
emails
The
that.
president or vice president can move a case to federal court for when you do these state prosecutors who are going for a political
Okay,
reason. So
here we go.
we're a legislative branch. We can't put anyone in.
Thanks for lining up that interview. Oh, I need to get the audio.
We don't know from the Biden administration who planted the pipe bombs on January 6th.
He went on to feign outrage while blaming the Biden administration for failed GOP investigation. House Republicans on the Judiciary
How much time do I have?
Oversight Committee
No time at all.
struggled to close their impeachment probe into Biden and are facing rising doubts from their own party about whether investigation
Cool shout out.
You're listening to America's First News.
Attention, small business owners. This could be the most important 10-minute call you will ever make. You could recover up to
Who do we shout out?
$26,000 per employee today.
Loomis?
And all you have to
Rockland?
do is make
Roseville?
one short 10-minute call to take your business up a notch.
Lincoln?
Or bounce back from these difficult couple of
Lincoln.
years. Omega Accounting Solutions can help you
Placerville?
recover any
Yeah,
payroll
Placerville.
tax overpayments you made during the pandemic. You may even be eligible
Placerville.
to receive up to $26,000 per employee. All it takes is a quick, easy, free 10-minute ERC consultation to determine if you qualify. Omega is the small business champion with teams dedicated to maximizing tax credits. They know their stuff so well that CPAs and payroll companies even turn to Omega for ERC.
15 seconds, Adam.
Call 800-300-9-ERC. That's 800-300-9-ERC. 1-800-300-9-ERC. Visit OmegaTaxCredits.com.
And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th. It is 14 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:14 a.m. And hey, good morning to you, Placerville. Currently 54 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high today of 69 degrees. All right, let's turn it over as we do right now to the Fox Business Report. Report. Ooh. Fox Business Report. Oh, brother. Okay. Traffic after this. How's traffic? Man, I haven't done traffic in a while. Accident shoulder blocked, I-80 westbound at Madison Avenue, slowing down to the Cap City Freeway. Also on Highway 5, I-5, Highway 5, I-5, north of Garden Highway exits. Accident shoulder blocked right there if you're on I-5. Going up 80, looking pretty good right now, but just heads up that there will be slowdowns as Caltrans is working on the roads up there. And Highway 50 looking good ish. So invested in you.
You can host the best
All
backyard
right.
barbecue.
All right.
When you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Hi, this is Dr. Dahlia. Join me for my live call-in medical talk show that answers your questions right here on KAHI. On my show, we tackle issues like cholesterol, diabetes, women's health, children, geriatrics, relationships, and more. And with all that's going on in Washington, we even touch on government and policies.
Dr. Dahlia.
Weekdays from 9 to noon here on the Voice of the Foothills.
Join me each week right here on FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI, the voice of the foot.
16 minutes past the top of the hour. It is 8:16 a.m. Taking a look outside at traffic right now. Heads up if you're headed 80 westbound. There's an accident shoulder block. That is 80 westbound at Madison Avenue. That is slowing down some traffic right there. Slowing back behind up to Greenback there. Other than that, looking good once you're past there. Cap City Freeway slowing down as you're coming into Sacramento, as we would expect this time of day. 80 westbound over to I-5. Looking pretty open for the time being, but I-5 northbound and southbound, my goodness gracious, is it slowing down right about now? So if you're heading out to the airport, maybe give yourself a little bit of extra time if you're going that way, or if you're coming back from the airport or coming back into Sacramento that way, give yourself some time. It looks like we've got an accident. I-5 northbound at Garden Highway, the exit right there. We've got an accident. The shoulder is blocked, so heads up there. If you see anybody on the side of the road, make sure you give them a break. Go slowly as you're going by those spots right there. 65 southbound coming in towards Sacramento from Lincoln, slowing down right now around Pleasant Grove and Blue Oaks. As we'd expect, 80 eastbound and westbound, if you're heading up the hill, looking really good right now, but heads up, the Caltrans is going to be doing some emergency road repairs, so expect delays if you're heading up the hills and into the mountains throughout this week. We've got some delays going up there, especially around, let's see, just passed up to the Nevada state line up there. 50 eastbound and westbound looking pretty good right now, but again, make sure if you see somebody on the side of the road to give them a break. Back with more right after this. Back with more right after this.
That means they can send a salesman to your home that looks like a true technician but knows next to nothing for servicing your heating and air system.
Oh, thanks for the notes, Linda. Oh, bless your heart. I'm still smelling the flowers on this side of the dirt. That's all that matters. That's good. BigMountainAir.com. 18 minutes past the top of the hour. It is 8:18 a.m. Hey, my thanks to Glen from Winston Books for coming in. We were talking a little bit about the bookstores. It was Independent Bookstore Day on Saturday. I thought it was today, but he was gracious enough to come in. Just tell us a little bit about his store here in downtown Auburn. Hey, when you're in Auburn, give it a look at, give it a check out. It's fantastic what he's got in there. Really, really cool bookstore. Hey, we're gonna go back now to America's First News. When we come back, we'll have your sports ball updates plus your weather. Back with more after this.
Monday morning, America's First News continues on April 29th. Ukraine's troops have been
Okay. News. Shoot. I gotta finish getting the news edited. Back after this.
President Joe Biden promised last week that the U.S. weapons shipment would begin within hours as he signed into law the $95 billion measure, $61 billion of which was allocated for Ukraine. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin.
I'm also pleased to announce today an additional commitment of $6 billion through our Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. That will allow us to procure new capabilities for Ukraine from the U.S. industry. This is the largest security assistance package that we've committed to date. It will include critical interceptors for Ukraine's Patriot and NASAMS air defense systems, more counter-drone systems and support equipment, significant amounts of artillery ammunition and air-to-ground munitions, and maintenance and sustainment support. I would caution us all in terms of making Patriot a silver bullet. I would say that it's gonna be the integrated air and missile defense, as we said so many times before, that really turns a tide. And so there are other capabilities that they need that we really pushed hard to get, and we may be able to get to the Ukrainians a bit faster. But this work continues on.
In its latest operational assessment, the Institute for the Study of War predicted late Saturday that Russian forces will likely make significant tactical gains in the coming weeks as acute ammunition shortages continue to hobble Ukraine's efforts. Australia, one of Ukraine's largest non-NATO donors, announced a military aid package worth around $65 million to support Kiev's war effort. Australia's Defense Minister Richard Marles made the announcement in Ukraine days after the U.S. announcement.
Today we are announcing the next package of support for Ukraine, totaling $100 million. But this tranche is just the next tranche. We understand that this will be an enduring conflict, and we will be contributing more in the future because we are determined to stand side by side with Ukraine for as long as it takes for Ukraine to prevail. Ukraine must prevail for the future of global peace and security.
Australia has also imposed restrictions on hundreds of Russian politicians, including President Vladimir Putin, military commanders, and business people. They're the most sweeping sanctions Australia has ever put on another country. The United Nations Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights conducted reports from Iran of increasingly strict enforcement of the state's hijab laws for women and girls, and a report of a new draft bill that would impose severe punishments. At a news conference in Geneva, the High Commissioner's spokesperson, Jeremy Lawrence, condemned the crackdown.
We have received information that uniformed and plainclothes police in Iran are enforcing a violent crackdown throughout the country against women and girls under the country's strict hijab laws, as well as men who are supporting them. There have been reports of widespread arrests and harassment of women and girls, many between the ages of 15 and 17. On the 21st of April, the Tehran head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced the creation of a new body to enforce existing mandatory hijab laws, adding that guard members have been trained to do so in a more serious manner in public spaces. Reports indicate that hundreds of businesses have been forcibly closed for not enforcing compulsory hijab laws, and surveillance cameras are being used to identify women drivers not complying with the laws. This bill must be shelved.
The Human Rights Office also called for the release of 33-year-old rapper Tuman Shalehi, who was sentenced to death for supporting nationwide protests in 2022, sparked by the death in police custody of 22-year-old Masa Amini. The nation's economy slowed sharply last quarter to a 1.6% annual pace in the face of high interest rates, but consumers kept spending at a solid pace. Republican critics of President Joe Biden have sought to pin responsibility for high prices on Biden and use it to derail his re-election bid. And polls show that despite the healthy economy and near record high stock market, many Americans hold dim views of Biden's handling of the economy. Chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, Jared Bernstein, asked how he framed the data and if there should be any concerns over consumer sentiment.
Well, first of all, consumers should have whatever degree of concern they have. We're not in the business of telling people how they should feel about the economy. It is true that the Michigan sentiment indicator is up 25% since November. We've seen increases, interestingly, among Democrats, Independents, Republicans, and that's been good to see. And I think it's tracked some of the improvements that we saw in inflation, especially the disinflation in the latter half of last year. Now, look, inflation is still down 60% from its peak. It was nice to hit the expectations number for the PCE, both headline and core, this morning. And in terms of the GDP growth, the 3% year over year, it is true that there's some noisy sectors there. Inventories is another one, along with net exports. But as long as real consumer spending, fueled by the tight job market and rising real wages, continues to help support consumers in their spending and their incomes and their rising disposable incomes, even after inflation, I think that's a good sign for consumers, and probably behind that improvement that we've seen over the longer term sentiment indices. When it comes to inflation, I think the question there, we should get into it if you want, which is are the forces that helped with the disinflation in the second half of this year, are they just on a break or are they gone? And obviously, we've argued that they are that they're still there, and that we expect inflation to continue a bumpy path down towards target. When it comes to the housing market, which is where, of course, Fed policy always bites first, I mean, there is a really remarkable kind of a gap between the effective mortgage rate, which is the average of all the outstanding mortgages. It's in the 3 to 4% range, and the mortgage rate, that's 7% if you go out and get a new mortgage. That's the lock-in effect right there. That spread. That's a really important kind of overlooked spread. And so I think Fed policy is very much, again, I won't talk about the granular policy, but I think it's incorrect to conclude that it isn't having, an effect or even much of an effect on the economy.
Bernstein making the comment slowdown reflects in part much higher borrowing rates for home and auto loans, credit cards, and many business loans. Though the Fed's policymakers signaled last month that they expect to cut rates 3 times this year, they have lately signaled that they're in no hurry to reduce rates. Still, the International Monetary Fund has projected that the world's largest economy will grow 2.7% for all of 2024, up from 2.5% last year, and more than double the growth the IMF expects this year for Germany, France, Italy, Japan, the UK, and Canada. Here at home, shares closed out a relatively solid week Friday, with the S&P 500 rallying 1% to finish its first winning week in the last 4. The Dow rose 153 and the Nasdaq jumped 2%. 3 women who were diagnosed with HIV after getting vampire facial procedures at an unlicensed New Mexico medical spa are believed to be the first documented cases of people contracting the virus through a cosmetic procedure using needles. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that an investigation into the clinic from 2018 through 2023 showed it apparently reused disposable equipment intended for one-time use. New Mexico's Department of Health started investigating the spa in the summer of 2018 after it was notified a woman in her 40s tested positive for HIV, even though she had no known risk factors. The spa closed in the fall of 2018 after the investigation was launched and its owner was prosecuted for practicing medicine without a license. The report said the investigation shows how important it is to require infection control practices at businesses that offer cosmetic procedures involving needles. Reach out to me anytime across the board on social media at MattRayTalk. More on the way on this Monday morning. You're listening to America's First News.
Breaking news first, America's First News. We'll be right back.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Hotshot Secret Stiction Eliminator.
Stiction, that sticky friction, undermines the performance of diesel engines. Third-party ASTM testing verifies that Stiction Eliminator removes 2 times as much stiction than any alternative on the retail shelf. Stiction Eliminator is formulated to be left in the engine oil. It works as you drive.
Available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hotshot Secret, powered by science.
We all know Joe Biden isn't getting the job done and too often is making things worse.
That's conservative business leader Doug Burgum, one of America's most successful governors. Raised with small-town values, Burgum built a billion-dollar company, creating thousands of jobs. As governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum cut taxes, balanced the budget, and helped pass term limits.
Where we come from, when something isn't working, you stop and you try something new. That's common sense. Joe Biden has got to go.
As president, Doug Burgum will unleash American energy and end Biden's inflation. He'll secure the border to stop the flow of illegal drugs, and Burgum will rebuild our military to win the Cold War with China.
Do you believe that the economy, energy, and national security are critical to our nation's future? Remember, that's why I'm the president.
Most of America, and this is America.
30 seconds, Adam.
Our newest website for
Here we go.
It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free. It's up to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code radio at checkout. This is a limited time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
And good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th, and it is 30 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:30 a.m. And good morning to you, Auburn. Currently 55 degrees where you're at right now. Looking for a high day. Very nice. What a spring day of 70 degrees today. All right, let's go over to it. We're going to go to sports ball. Starting on the hardwood NBA, we've got the Knicks versus the 76ers. Knicks win that one at 97-92. That's on the east side of the country. It's the first round, game 4. New York leads the series 3-1. Clippers versus the Mavericks. Clippers win that one 116-111. It's on the west side of the country. The first round, game 4, series tied at 2 apiece. Bucks versus the Pacers. Pacers win that one 126-113. That's on the east side of the country. That's the first round, game 4. Indiana leads that series 3-1. And the Timberwolves versus the Suns. Timberwolves win that one 122-116. That's on the west side of the country. It's the first round. That was game 4. Minnesota won that series handily 4-0. Going out to the MLB right now. We've got the A's versus the Orioles yesterday. A's win that one 7-6. You can hear the A's again today on KAHI, starting a homestand here against the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's going to be at 6 p.m. today is going to be the pregame, and then the first pitch is at 6:40 this afternoon. Yeah, I think that's technically this evening. So we'll say first pitch is at 6:40 p.m. You can hear all the action here on KAHI. Again, the A's versus Pittsburgh. Pregame is at 6 o'clock. That's the radio start time. And then the first pitch is at 6:40 p.m. Catch all the action here on KAHI. Dodgers versus the Blue Jays. Blue Jays, yes, win that one 3-1. That's the Giants fan in me coming out there. Speaking of the Giants, Giants versus the Pirates. Giants win that one 3-2. Twins versus the Angels. Twins win that one 11-5. D-backs versus the Mariners. Diamondbacks win that one 3-2. Phillies versus the Padres. Phillies on top there 8-6. Cubs versus the Red Sox. Red Sox win that one 5-4. And Astros versus the Rockies. Astros win that one 8-2. Back with your KAHI weather right after this. All right, Timmy, you're up. Get ready with the weather. Okay, that does it for. That's a wrap on sports wall scores today. Oh, shoot. Whoops. Forgot.
Mid-40s tonight, mostly clear, very light winds. It'll be up around 70, a little bit warmer Tuesday, mostly sunny, and a little bit warmer Wednesday, mostly sunny skies in the low 70s. Mid-70s or so Thursday, upper 70s Friday, mostly sunny skies. This is your altitude rate from FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI.
33 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:33 a.m. Gang, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to be wrapping up. We're going to close out this hour with the O'Reilly Report and America's First News. And if it is your birthday today, happy stinking birthday to you. I hope you have a fantastic day today. Everything that you wish for, I hope that it comes true. If it's your birthday today, you celebrate it with some famous people. Willie Nelson, born on this day in 1933. Dale Earnhardt, born on this day in 1951. Man, I still remember when he passed away. Died on the circuit there in 2001. Daniel Day-Lewis, British actor, born on this day in 1957. Uma Thurman, born on this day in 1970. William Randolph Hearst, born on this day in 1863. Gang, until we meet again tomorrow, remember as always to be kind, be honest, be yourself, and remember you can't hate somebody if you're hugging them. Have a fantastic rest of the day. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Back now to America's First News. That's how we do that.
Sunday, President Joe Biden again spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Okay.
On Israel and Hamas.
Oops.
Bring a ceasefire in the nearly 7-month-long war in Gaza.
National
Security Communications Advisor John Kirby.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining me. Going to sign off. See ya. Oh, hi, Lise. Oh my gosh. Thanks for listening. Literally was just looking at your pictures from Venice. So jealous. Holy cow. Like Rush Limbaugh. That reminds me of always listening to Rush Limbaugh. Grandma and Grandpa always had it on. I don't know if you remember, like they would always have it on the stereo at the edge of the deck there, blasting out to the garden. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. You can join me every morning. Yay! Sometimes Allie is on here too, so maybe she'll jump on sometime too. But your guys' pictures from Venice looked chef's kiss. Well, all of your Italy trip, by the way. They looked absolutely amazing. So that's why. Is that really what I do? Really? Is that what I do? That's amazing. It's funny the things that we learn all these years later. That's absolutely amazing. It's one of my folks that walk by the station. The station's right on street level here, so like people walk by. There's a guy that I knock on the window all the time. It scares the bejeebers out of me. That and the fresh milk. Remember Grandpa always going out and milking the cows out there. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks so much. I'm done for the day. Off to the next job. So a fantastic day, and have a fantastic day. And maybe I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Bye.